Today, you'll learn and shadow over 300 sentences you can use in daily life conversations. You'll see the sentence, you'll learn the meaning, and then you'll shadow the correct and natural pronunciation. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Maybe you can say to the person, "Excuse me, where can I find protein bars?" Excuse me. So this is how you get the person's attention. So you don't say pardon me in North American English. It sounds too formal. You just say excuse me. Excuse me. And you don't say anything before that. You don't say hello or anything. You just say excuse me. Excuse me. And then the person will look at you. And as long as you have their attention, then you just ask your question. Okay. Excuse me, where can I find protein bars? So, where can I find whatever item you want? So, instead of saying, where are the protein bars? You can absolutely say that. In English, there's many different ways to say the exact same thing. If you say, where are the protein bars? That's great. Where can I find the protein bars? That's great as well. Okay, so this is one option. Helena answered. Protein bars are usually near the cashier. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's where all the chocolate bars and the impulse items are. Exactly. Mohammed, I'm going to shopping. How can we correct this? Because it's not correct now, but there are different ways we could correct this. Does anyone know? So I'm going to shopping. What do we know? What do we need here? Okay, you can say, I'm going shopping without to. Exactly. Exactly. Nice correction. I'm going shopping. I'm going shopping. Or you can go to a location. So you can say, I'm going to the store. I'm going to the grocery store. So you could say that as well. I'm going to the store. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything? I'm going shopping. I'm going grocery shopping. So if you just say I'm going shopping and the person has no other context, they will not assume you're getting groceries. They will think maybe you're just going to the mall for clothes. They won't know. They'll ask you, oh, what are you getting? Oh, just groceries. So I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going grocery shopping. You can say that as well. Okay. Yeah, Manuel, exactly. It's universal. It's an easy one for you. All right. I'm going to the grocery store. You can't say I'm going to grocery. Definitely not. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going shopping. Yeah, I'm going shopping. Exactly. You can go to the market, exactly, because the market is a location. You go to a location. You go plus activity. I'm going shopping. Shopping is an activity. I'm going shopping. I'm going to a location. I'm going to the market. I'm shopping downtown. Exactly. Nicely done. Okay, so the question, excuse me, where can I find protein bars? And then the person replies, the protein bars are in aisle 5 by the cereal. So remember in a parking lot, we talked about rows. Okay, so you have a space which is the parking lot. And then you have rows. And within the rows, there are many spots where you can park. In a grocery store, they don't use the word row, they use the word aisle. And notice the pronunciation. Don't look at the spelling because the spelling and pronunciation are different. So close your eyes and listen to the pronunciation. Aisle, aisle. So aisle, aisle. So in a grocery store, it's called an aisle. In a parking lot, it's called a row. The protein bars are in aisle 5. So located in aisle 5. Now, hopefully there's a number for these aisles. Now they're giving you more information because maybe the aisle is very long. So cereal, that could be something that's easy to find. So you just find the cereal and then you look close to the cereal and you should see the protein bars. So by the cereal, by represents close to. By the cereal, located near the cereal. Okay. Yes, exactly. On a plane, when you enter the plane, when you board and you find your seat, you walk up the aisle. And they usually say, please clear the aisles quickly so other passengers can board because there's always that one person standing in the aisle and then other people can't get by. All right. Yeah, it sounds exactly the same, but context would make it obvious that they're not talking about I will. The protein bars are in aisle 5. I'm in a grocery store. I understand that we're talking about the location of something. So there's nothing about the context to suggest it's I will. Nothing about context. But if you had zero context and I just opened my mouth and said I'll, you wouldn't know what I'm saying because context makes it obvious. We wouldn't use an ordinal number. You would use aisle and then just the number 5. Aisle 5. It's row. 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 That's for a parking lot. ROW. Yeah, exactly, Manuel. Raw means it is not cooked, and row is a line. Think of it on Excel. You have rows and you have columns on an Excel, and that's the row. The row. I'm so glad you love those videos, Elena. And this is definitely C1, C2, what you're learning here, because this is the way natives speak in the real world. Yeah, aisle is difficult for sure. I think what Manuel said, if you just think of it like the word aisle, I will, is really the same pronunciation. So just imagine you're saying I will as a contraction. Aisle, aisle, aisle.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson.
Okay. How about this? Again, excuse me. There's no other way to get someone's attention. Just excuse me. Excuse me. And now, here's the question. Do you carry good life protein bars? So Remember context, you're in a grocery store and you get the attention of a cashier or someone who works at the grocery store, and you ask them, do you does not represent the person that you're talking to, it represents the store that you're in. Do you carry? So, in this context, carry means, is this a product the store regularly sells? Okay. So, is this the product the store regularly sells? Do you carry Good Life protein bars? So, now it's not just protein bars, it's a specific brand. So, it's like asking, do you carry Coca Cola? Uh, w- that's the specific brand, right? Do you carry? Do you carry? Do you carry? You could absolutely say, do you have? Do you have? Do you have Good Life protein bars? Carry is very commonly used in a grocery store to understand if this store regularly has this product. Because if you buy these every week, you want to know that you can go to this store and you can buy this brand of protein bars every week from this store. Excuse me, do you carry Good Life protein bars? Is carry only for brands? That's a good question. Do you carry grapes? Hmm. I would probably say, I don't know if there's a rule that says, yes, you must only use it with brands, but just from what I would use, I would say yes. Because if it were just a general product, do you carry protein bars? Do you have protein? Ooh, that's a good question. I would say you can use it if it's an item that you're not sure if the store has. So let's say you enter a grocery store, okay? You know a grocery store has milk. So you're not gonna say, do you carry milk? But let's say you go into a small convenience store, or let's say you go into a bakery, somewhere that doesn't normally have milk. In that context, I would say, do you carry milk? So in this case, I don't need a specific brand. I just want to know if you regularly have this item. So thank you for your question, because as I think about it, yes, you can use carry for any item, but we generally only use it if we're not sure if it's a regular item the store has. Good question. And if you want to be safe, you can absolutely just use have. Do you have Good Life protein bars? Do you have milk? You can absolutely say that. Yes, Good Life is a brand that I made up. I don't know if this exists. Don't eat protein bars. For some reason, it's just the first thing I thought of. Okay. Not provide. Provide's not the right answer. So stores don't provide milk to you, they sell milk to you. So you would use, do you carry? Do you have? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You can just say, do you have protein bars? Just be familiar that definitely native speakers will use carry for sure. Okay. How about this one? So the person replies, okay? So you ask someone and they reply and say, let me check. I'll be right back. Let me check. Let me check. Notice that pronunciation. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. They might say something for like, I'm not too sure. I don't know. Let me check. Let me check. Check means verify. We saw this when one of the questions or one of the phrases was, Can you check if we have butter or can you check if we need butter? Something like that. So check means verify. So they're going to go either look on their computer system or ask someone. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Let me check. I'll be right back. Let me check. I'll be right back. Oh, right. Yeah, you can use let me see. Let me see. I'll be right back. You can say that as well. Exactly. Let me, let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Okay, how about this? So the person goes and checks. They check their computer system and then they come right back. Hopefully, you didn't wait long. And they say, sorry, we stopped carrying that brand last month. We now carry shark protein bars. Again, I made up this name. Shark is a brand name in this situation. Okay, sorry. So they're just expressing their sympathy or expressing their apologies because they don't have this item. It's just a polite thing to do. Sorry, we stopped and then your verb in ing. We stopped carrying that brand last month. Remember the brand was Good Life protein bars. Again, not a real brand. Maybe it is, I don't know. We stopped carrying that brand last month. So, what does this mean? We stopped carrying that brand last month. It means they used to. We used to carry that brand. So, if they said we used to carry that brand, you know they no longer do because used to do something is when it was a routine action in the past, but no longer now. Okay. So you could say that as well. We stopped carrying that brand last month. We now carry Shark protein bars. So they're giving you an alternative. They're letting you know what they routinely have available. We now carry Shark protein bars. So you could get to the market and then you go up and someone says to you, would you like a sample of our homemade goat cheese? Notice that. Would you like a sample? So, a sample is a small taste or a small test of whatever they're selling for free. So, you can get a sample of a perfume, and of course, you're not tasting the perfume, but with food, a sample is a small bite or a small sip if it were a drink, a sample. Now, they can provide samples in grocery stores and other places as well. And sometimes when you order an item, they might include some samples of other products to get you to try that product and then potentially buy it in the future. So let's review the pronunciation. I'll say it slowly and then you can repeat after me. Would you like a sample of our homemade goat cheese? Now I'll say it quickly. Would you like a sample of our homemade goat cheese? Would you like a sample? Would you? Would you? So notice that j sound. Would you? Would you like a? Like a? Would you like a? Would you like a sample? So sample is a noun. It's something. Yeah, in this case, hello to Priscilla Maria. Nice to have you here. And in this case, yes, you could say, would you like a piece of our homemade goat cheese? You absolutely can use that. Now, that only applies to this picture, whereas other samples, it may not be a piece. But in this context, absolutely, you can say that. Would you like a sample of our homemade goat cheese? So homemade is an adjective and it means of course they made it themselves. Okay, how about this one? So you're looking at the products in the market and then someone says to you, "This honey is made right here in town." This honey is made right here in town. So they're letting you know it's local, local. This honey, so you can replace the word honey with whatever product you want, even the goat cheese in our past example. This honey, this honey, this honey is. So hold up that is and then add is. This honey is made right here in town, right here in town. So in town just represents the specific location you're in. So repeat after me. This honey is made right here in town. Yeah, you could say this honey is produced. If you use produce instead of made, you have to have the ed form because it's to be produced, because it's the passive voice, it's not the active voice. So this honey is produced right here in town. You could say that. Okay, let's try our next one. Oh, so you go up to one of these stalls and then you can ask them a question. So you might ask for a specific type of something, or you can ask about the ingredients. So in this case, you ask the vendor. The vendor is the person selling the products. You could say vendor. You could also say seller, the person selling the products. Vendor, seller. Do you have any sugar free jam? So, very easy question form. Do you have any jam? Do you have any jam? But what type of jam? So, you're adding sugar free as an adjective. Do you have any sugar free jam? Do you have any? Do you have any? So, hold on that v sound on have and take it to your next word. Have any? Have any? Do you have any? Do you have any? Repeat after me. Do you have any? Do you have any sugar free jam? And then they'll say, yes, we do, and show you the options, or say, no, we don't. Sorry, no, we don't. And again, maybe show you the options as well. Okay, Tamara asked, can a producer be a vendor? Yeah, absolutely. So a producer is the person who produces the product. A vendor is the person who sells the product. So you can absolutely produce a product and then also sell that product. So yes, a producer can be a vendor. And generally at markets, that is one of the main reasons why people like them, because you're buying directly from the producer. You're buying from the person who made the product, who produced it. That's not always the case, but that is one of the benefits of going to a market. Let's keep going with our next phrase. Okay, so maybe this lady who could be a vendor and who could also be a producer offers you a sample of her jam, her strawberry jam. Okay. And then you taste it, and then you say to this lady, the strawberry jam tastes just like my grandmother's. Just like my grandmother's. That could be probably one of the best compliments you could give someone. Now, of course, we have this idea that our grandmothers make the best food and the best products. You could replace grandmother with mothers or aunts or some other person as well. It tastes just like my grandmother's. Now, notice there's an apostrophe S after grandmother. So when you say it in the plural, or when you say it in spoken English, it will sound like you're just saying the plural, grandmothers, grandmothers. Now, there's an apostrophe S because it's my grandmother's jam, my grandmother's strawberry jam. But because that's obvious based on the context, you don't need to include the word jam or strawberry jam. But you absolutely need the apostrophe S, because you can't say tastes just like my grandmother. That would be weird. It's like saying you tasted your grandmother and the jam tastes like your grandmother. No, that doesn't make any sense. That's weird. So you absolutely need that apostrophe S. Otherwise, it will sound weird, like I said. Okay, now let's focus on the pronunciation. The strawberry jam, the strawberry jam, the strawberry jam tastes. Don't forget that S. Sometimes students don't pronounce the S, but that makes it sound like a grammar mistake because it needs that S to show as third person singular. The strawberry jam tastes just like my grandmother's, with an S at the end. The strawberry jam tastes just like my grandmother's. Now, of course, you can say something, wow, the strawberry jam is delicious, is amazing. You can absolutely just say something like that. This is just a very nice compliment. Okay, Coma said the strawberry jam tastes as tasty as my grandmother's. Yes, you can absolutely use as tasty as. So, as adjective as. Now, in English, we don't like using the same word, even if it is not exactly the same. I personally wouldn't say tastes as tasty as. I would say, wow, this strawberry jam is as tasty as my grandmother's. I would use the verb to be if you were using tasty as an adjective to avoid that double taste as tasty. Taste as tasty. It sounds repetitive, and native speakers, we generally don't like doing that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I like this, Natalia. Nothing can beat it. Nothing can beat my grandmother's strawberry jam. Nothing can beat my grandmother's strawberry jam. And I use this example because I bought some raspberry jam at a farmer's market on the weekend. I don't know why I didn't use raspberry jam, but I bought some raspberry jam and I tasted it and it was delicious. But I said, "Oh, it's good, but it's not as good as my grandmother's," because nothing will be, right? You have that memory of your grandmother's food and nothing can beat it. Nothing can beat it. Absolutely. Okay. How about this one? So you ask one of the vendors, do you have this spread in a smaller side? So spread just represents something, some sort of product that you spread on bread or on toast. It could be a jam, it could be a sauce, it could be a preserve. There are many different things it could be. It could be like a garlic aioli. It could be many different things. So spread is just a general term to refer to any product that you spread. So, assuming one of these products is a spread. Okay. So the verb is to spread. So when you have butter or jam and you go like this over your bread, you're spreading the butter and you want to do that evenly. You're spreading the butter or spreading the jam. So you see this container, this jar, but it's quite large. So you want to ask for it in a smaller size. In a smaller size. Or if you see a small one, you could ask for a larger size. Do you have this spread in a smaller size? Do you have this jam, this honey, this butter, whatever else it is? Do you have this spread in a smaller size? In a smaller size. So in a size and then smaller or larger. You could do the same thing if you're buying a shirt. Do you have this shirt in a smaller size? Do you have these shoes in a larger size? So you can use that as well. Do you have this spread in a smaller size? In a. So notice that pronunciation of in a. Repeat after me. In a, in a, in a. Do you have this spread in a smaller size? Do you have this spread? Do you? So notice how fast that do is. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you have this? Do you have this? Repeat after me. Do you have this? Do you have this spread in a smaller size? And then they'll say yes or no. They'll show you the options, they'll show you what they have. One of the students mentioned Wi Fi. So, generally, hotels provide free Wi Fi, and they advertise that as one of the reasons why you should book at our hotel. We have free high speed Wi Fi included in the price of your stay. So that would be an amenity. An amenity. It's a service they provide to you, and you don't have to pay anything additional for it. So the Wi Fi password is on your room key. So often you're given your room key and it might be in a little envelope, and then they'll write the Wi Fi details right on the room key for you. So the person at check in might say this: the Wi Fi password is on your room key. The Wi Fi password is on your room key. Because, of course, that's one of the first questions you'll ask. So they want to make it easy for you to find. The Wi Fi password is on your room key. Okay, how about this one? Complimentary breakfast is served from 7 to 9:30. Complimentary breakfast. So what does complimentary mean? If the hotel check-in at reception they say to you, complimentary breakfast is served from 7 to 9:30. What does that mean? Yeah, complimentary is at a hotel is the word they use instead of free. So they could absolutely say free breakfast, but they don't. They say it's complimentary. And let's say they have some coffee or some bottles of water on a table. You might ask, is this complimentary? You're asking, can I take a water for free or do I need to pay? So, is this complimentary? Is another way of saying, is this free? Is this free? Okay. But they use the word complimentary. They use this on flights as well. You might get some complimentary drinks or snacks, complimentary movies. You don't have to pay for the movie, things like that. So, complimentary is a word used with hotels, flights, and I can't think of other places, but those are common. Trains as well, I guess. Yes, free, free, free. So you want that. So complimentary breakfast, excuse me, I have something in my throat, is served. So they're using the verb served as the adjective form because it's to be served, to be served. Breakfast is not doing the action. So breakfast is served. And then we have our times from 7. Now, if I were to vocalize this dash, and I already said it, but if I were to vocalize this dash, what word would I say for this dash? What word is this? This dash is a word. Okay? So someone put that in the chat. And instead of served, I could say is available, is available. So those would be the two word choices. Is served, is available. Yeah. So from to. From is the beginning point, to is the end point. So from 7 to 9:30. From 7 to 9:30. From 7 to 9:30. Okay. Now, I didn't add AM from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. because context makes it obvious. It's breakfast. Breakfast is served in the morning. So you don't need to say AM because it's obvious. So they may say it, but they may not because it's obvious based on context. Complimentary breakfast is served from 7 to 9:30. How about this? There is coffee, tea, and water available in the lobby. There's coffee, tea, and water available in the lobby. So sometimes when you're in a larger hotel, they have a separate lobby area with some chairs and tables, and you might see a station, a, a coffee station and they have tea bags and a Keurig or an automatic coffee maker, and they're letting you know this is free. If they let you know it's available, then you can assume it's for free. Yeah, they're complimentary. They may add complimentary coffee, tea, and water are available in the lobby. So they may add the word complimentary, but they don't need to. Yeah, exactly. It's obvious. You don't need to write AM if you say breakfast. Exactly. Okay. How about this one? So, an amenity that many people love is a pool. So, we saw in the picture an outdoor pool, but there can also be an indoor pool. So that's what you would say if the pool is outside. You would say an outdoor pool. You wouldn't say an outside pool. You would say an outdoor pool, an indoor pool, an outdoor pool, an indoor pool. Okay. And the adjective comes before the noun. Otherwise, you could say the pool is outdoors, the pool is outside. So you could say outside or outdoors with an S. Ah, yeah. So there's a rooftop. You would add the word top. There's a rooftop pool. There's a rooftop pool. So that would be the adjective rooftop, one word. There's a rooftop pool, or there's a pool on the roof. On the roof. So you need the preposition on the roof. There's a rooftop pool. Okay, so the pool is on the second floor. Notice with our ordinal number, second, you need the second floor, and is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 10 to 10. So remember, this dash is vocalized as two. So from 10 a.m. to 10 to 10 to 10 to 10 to 10 p.m. So from 10 to 10. The pool is open. So you need to be open, which means you are allowed to use that facility. How about this? The gym is on the 18th floor. The gym. So this is another amenity. You don't have to pay money to use it. It's available as part of your stay at the hotel. And this is one of the reasons why you might choose this hotel, because they have a gym. They might also say the fitness center or the fitness facility. They might use a different word. Sometimes they want to make it sound fancier than it is. The fitness center. Oh, wow, there's a whole center. So it sounds a little more impressive saying that. And they may want to make it sound more impressive, but they may also just say the gym. The gym is on. So on a floor. So located on. The gym is on the 18th floor. So again, the 18th floor, and is open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Here I wrote out two. I didn't use the dash. There's no reason why. Is open. Is open. How about this one? There's an ice machine to the left of the elevators on every floor. So I don't know if this is a very special amenity, but they may tell you, oh, we have ice available. There's an ice machine. There's an ice machine to the left of the elevators. So you go to your elevator and then you go left, to the left of the elevators on every floor. So remember, we saw on the 18th floor, on every floor. So there's an ice machine on the second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, etc. Every floor to the left of the elevators. I don't know why people love getting ice at hotels. Yeah, they might call it the recreation center as well. Fitness center, fitness studio, recreation center, lots of different names that the hotel may use to try to make it sound more elaborate or fancy. How about this? Look at this word and then listen to my pronunciation. Our concierge. Concierge. So, this is a word we borrow from the French language. Our concierge is happy to provide any recommendations or answer any questions. So, one of the services that they may provide you is someone, a person called the concierge. So, this is a job title. Concierge is a job title. It's someone who is available to give you directions, give you information about the city, give you information about the hotel, give you information about transportation, give you information about restaurants, food, attractions, all of that is a concierge. But now we just ask our phones. We don't really go to the concierge that much, but it used to be a very valuable service that was provided. Okay, our concierge is happy to provide any recommendations or answer any questions. How about this? They might let you know about room service. So, this would be an amenity. So, an amenity is the fact that you can have food delivered to your room. So, that's called room service. Room service. So, that's the name of the amenity, room service. Room service is available. Room service is available from 6 a.m. to midnight. So midnight is 12 a.m. But often we'll use the words noon to represent 12 p.m., midday. We'll say noon, and we'll say midnight to represent 12 a.m. because you instantly understand noon and midnight more so than 12 a.m., 12 p.m., which even native speakers still mix up a.m. and p.m. with 12. It's funny. So, room service is available from 6 a.m. to midnight. From 6 a.m. to midnight. To order, so to order room service, to order, dial 1. To order, dial 1. So you pick up your phone. There's always a phone in the hotel room with pre-programmed numbers. So you can pick up the phone and you just dial 1, and then someone will say room service, and then you place your order. So let's first talk about making plans before you get to the movies, which of course represents movie theater. In North America, we say the movies, the movies. The movie theater, the place where you watch a movie on the big screen. So you need to make plans. And I'm sharing this lesson because this is a text I received from a friend of mine. Well, this text was to me and my husband to go out with her and her husband. Okay. And she said in a text, "Are you guys free tomorrow evening? Dinner and a movie." So that's what she suggested as the plan: dinner and a movie, dinner and a movie. So I thought, why not learn some natural vocabulary? So you can learn here. Are you guys? This is a informal term to refer to a group. It is not gender specific, so you don't need to use it with males because my female friend sent this text to me, a female. Are you guys free? So free, you can replace that with available. Are you guys free tomorrow evening? And then you can do whatever your time reference is. It could be tonight, next weekend, on Monday. So whatever your time reference is. And then instead of having a full sentence form for her suggestion, she just put the words dinner and a movie. Now, the question mark lets me know that she's suggesting this and then wants to know what we think about this dinner and a movie. Otherwise, you could text someone, or talk to them on the phone in person and say, "Do you want to go to the movies tonight? Do you want to go to the movies tonight?" So notice that pronunciation. Do you wanna? Do you wanna go? So want to, do you wanna go to? So you go to a location. In this case, the location is the movie theater. And like I said, in North America, we just say the movies. You need this article, the. Do you want to go to the movies tonight? And the movies represents a location. And absolutely, Azam, you can say, want to go to the movies tonight. You don't even need the do you. That's a very casual way, the way that friends talk to each other. Want to go to the movies, want to grab a coffee, want to have dinner, whatever it might be. How about this? Do you want to catch a movie this weekend? So notice this verb here, to catch a movie. But I want you to notice the difference. In this case, go to the movies. The movies is a location. This represents the movie theater. And the native speakers just shorten that to the movies, the movies in the plural form. This is a location. This is not a location. This is a movie. So it's seeing it as a thing. Do you want to catch a movie this weekend? Native speakers commonly use the verb catch as a replacement to watch or see. It's very common to use the verb see with a movie. Do you want to watch a movie this weekend? Do you want to see a movie this weekend? Do you want to catch a movie this weekend? Or you can use the location. Do you want to go to, because you go to a location? Do you want to go to the movies tonight? Or whatever time reference you want. And yes, the movies represents movie theater, movie theater. And absolutely, you can say, do you want to catch a film? You could. I would say it's not very commonly used by natives. It would be 9 out of 10 would say a movie, not a film. Although you can, like I said, though, 90% of people will not. Now, you can add this on. We haven't been to the movies in ages. So, again, notice because I have the movies, you know it's a location. It's the movie theater. Okay. So just make sure you understand that. We haven't been to, because you can use the verb to with location. We haven't been to the movies in ages. So in ages is a represents a long period of time. We don't know how long it is. It just depends on what the speaker views as a very long time. Then they might reply back and say 2 months, which for them, it might be a long time because maybe they usually go every weekend. Or it could be 2 years because they don't normally go to the movies. So it really depends on the speaker. So you can use we haven't been. Is the present perfect because the action of not going started in the past and it continues until now. And this could be the reason why you want to go to the movies, which is the location. Azam said, are you free to see a movie on the weekend? Yeah, you can say that on the weekend. I would just probably say this weekend, if it is, or next weekend, but you can say on the weekend. Again, it probably would just be more common to say this weekend. Are you free to see a movie this weekend? Are you free to see a movie this weekend? Excellent job. I love that. Very natural. Yeah, you can say, I haven't been to the movies for a long time, for a long time. So notice here the preposition is in ages. So everyone practice this. It's a great expression. What is something that you haven't done in ages? In ages. Okay, so I haven't, and then you need an activity. I haven't gone to the gym in ages. Hopefully, you don't say that. I haven't eaten vegetables in ages. So it can be anything, it can be a silly example. Share something in the comments to practice this expression and to practice the present perfect. It is possible to use the present perfect continuous depending on the action. The verb to be is a state of verb, so it doesn't go in the continuous form. I haven't danced. I haven't danced. Exactly. So this is a great one. You can say, I haven't danced, which you could be just sitting in your house and dancing. If you say, I haven't gone dancing, I haven't gone dancing, this means that you go to a club or a location where you dance in public with other people, like a salsa club or something like that. So I haven't danced in ages or for a long time. I haven't been dancing or I haven't gone dancing. So that would be to a club, to a salsa club for a long time in ages. I haven't practiced my Spanish in ages. Uh-oh. Well, good thing you didn't say English. I haven't been to the beach in ages. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I haven't gone dancing in ages. Exactly. So think salsa club with other people. I haven't I haven't gone swimming for a long time. I haven't been to the park in ages. Exactly. Exactly. Very nice. Very nice, everyone. Keep practicing. Keep practicing. Okay, so remember, we are in the context of going to the movies, which is the location. So you can ask your friend, text, in person, on the phone, whatever method of communication. Is anything good playing this weekend? Playing this weekend. So notice I'm using the verb play to represent the movies that are available in the movie theater. Okay, so you can use the verb play. Is anything good playing this weekend? You might simply ask, what's playing? What's playing this weekend? If you say, what's playing this weekend, you're asking for the available movies. So I would expect you to list the names of movies. What's playing this weekend? Is anything good playing this weekend? Is anything good playing this weekend? So this could be a question your friend asks you as you're making plans and you're deciding, do I want to go to the movies? Do I want to go to the movies? Do I want to see a movie? Well, is anything good playing? That's something you can ask. Okay, so yesterday I Googled what movies are playing in my local theater, my local movie theater. And the ones I have in quotations, these are the names of the movies currently playing at the theater. Okay. So Springsteen looks good. So you can replace this with whatever name of movie that you think looks good. So notice here, because Springsteen, even if it were longer, it represents one thing and it's an it. So for the subject is third person singular. And that's why the verb look has an S on it. Looks good. So you're saying there's a movie called Springsteen. I think it will be good. Springsteen looks good. And this can be in reply to, is anything good playing this weekend? Is anything good playing this weekend? Springsteen looks good. Home Alone looks interesting. Exactly. Good is a very basic adjective. You can replace that with whatever adjective you'd like. I love interesting. Yeah. Game of Thrones looks good. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. I love this. Okay. Good Fortune. Remember, all of these are names of movies. Good Fortune looks funny. So underneath Good Fortune, it said that it was a comedy. So that's why I said looks funny, because that's the adjective you want for a comedy. You want a comedy to be funny. Good fortune looks funny. Good fortune looks funny. Springsteen could be worth seeing. I love this, Mirik. An excellent job getting your gerund verb. So, could be, this is your modal could, because you're not sure. So, you're adding some doubt to it. Could be. It also couldn't be, but well, it could be. So, there's potential. Could be worth. And then worth is a gerund verb. And that's why your next verb is an ing. Could be worth seeing because you see a movie. Oh, what do you want to see this weekend? Excellent job, Mirik. I love that. Okay. Remember, good fortune is the name of a movie. So don't think about it as the meaning of the words. It's just a name of a movie. Ah, good fortune looks funny, but today it's not available. Yeah, exactly. You can use not available. You can also use the verb play. So, but today it isn't playing. It isn't available. It isn't playing. Both of them are are great choices. Titanic looks wonderful. Exactly. Wonderful is an excellent adjective. Very nice. Okay. So after the hunt, remember, this is the name of the movie. And even if it's longer, just remember that this is one movie. So it's always going to be conjugated as singular, third person singular, unless you say after the hunt and Springsteen. Then you have two movies. So, of course, it is they. After the Hunt and Springsteen look good. Which one do you want to see? Which one do you want to watch? So, After the Hunt, name of the movie, has gotten good reviews. So good reviews. And in this case, gotten. So notice the first time I pronounced it with the T's, I don't normally do that in fast spoken English. I would do the glottal stop, gotten, gotten. But you can absolutely say gotten, 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 gotten. After the Hunt has gotten good reviews, has gotten good reviews. So notice the use of the present perfect, because After the Hunt is still getting reviews. So the time reference is ongoing. So that's why you would use the present perfect, because it's possible for that to change. Well, now it's getting bad reviews, so it can change. And good reviews, good is a basic adjective. You can replace this with amazing, excellent, incredible, something positive, or you could talk about it negatively. Terrible reviews, horrible reviews. So let's not watch that if it's negative. Okay, has gotten, has gotten. And instead of gotten, if you want to sound a little more formal, which I wouldn't with my friends, I don't want to sound formal with my friends. But for whatever situation, if you're talking to a client or to in a business context about some other context, like using a software product, you might say has received good reviews. Oh, let's use this software product because it has received good reviews, if you want to sound a little more formal, but you can absolutely use gotten in those contexts. Oh, you can make it negative, has not gotten good reviews. Yeah, you can do that. Very nice. Or just use a negative adjective like you did here, has gotten terrible reviews. Yeah, rave is a common adjective with movies or with reviews in general. You could buy a cup on Amazon and then review the cup and say, oh, this cup has gotten rave reviews, or whatever product. So with any type of review, it doesn't have to be for the movie specifically. And rave is very positive. Has gotten, so rave, I would say, would be like excellent or incredible. Rave reviews. Yeah, Adolescence, the name of the movie, has gotten wonderful reviews. Very nice. Excellent job. Okay, here's a different expression. Everyone's talking about the new Tron movie. Everyone's talking about the new Tron movie. Okay, so notice here I said about, you talk about, which is why that preposition is here. Talk about. Now, the new movie. The new is connected to movie. Tron is the name of the movie, but this is a series, or at least it's a part two. I never saw part one or the first one, but there's a previous movie called Tron. So you can say the new Harry Potter movie, the new Star Wars movie, because those have previous movies. So if it's a series, you can say the new Harry Potter, the new Tron movie. So notice everyone's talking about. Now, even though people could be talking about the movie negatively without any additional context, I'll assume this is positive. So, unless you say something to make it sound negative, you would assume it's positive. Everyone's talking about the new Tron movie. It has gotten great reviews, or it's gotten rave reviews, or excellent reviews. Everyone's talking about the new Viking movie. You could say, if you say movies, it means there's more than one movie called Viking in the theater right now. How about this one? Do you want to see Regretting You? So you can just ask your friend, do you want to see? And then the name of the movie. Do you want to see Tron? Do you want to see Good Fortune? Do you want to see Regretting You? So this is the name of the movie. Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Do you wanna? Repeat after me. Do you wanna? Do you wanna see? Do you wanna see? And then maybe you can provide the reason why you want to see it. I've heard good things. I've heard good things. So notice here the use of the present perfect again. This is to show a connection to the present. So you heard good things in the past, and because of that, now you want to watch the movie. I've heard good things. And again, good is a basic adjective. You can replace that with something that sounds more positive. Or you could change the sentence structure entirely and say, I don't want to see Regretting You. I've heard terrible things. So you could state your opinion. I don't want to see the name of the movie. I've heard terrible things, or it's gotten terrible reviews. How about this? Oh, if it's too hot. So remember, before we were talking about a sunny, nice day, but too hot. I don't want to have a picnic. I don't want to leave early and go for a walk. It's too hot. So then you can use that adjective smeldering as well. Okay, so you can say, we'll need to crank up the AC today. Crank up. So, oh, I don't have my remote for the AC, but crank up means increase dramatically. So increase a lot and quickly. Crank up the AC. AC is short for air conditioning. Let's crank up the AC today. We'll need to. So we will need to. So a necessity in the future because it is too hot. Remember, when we use to, it means that it is more than wanted or needed. Okay. It's not the same. You can also say so hot, but too hot works in this context, more than wanted or needed. So crank up the AC today. The AC will be working overtime today. So you might just say this to your whoever, your friend, your spouse, the AC will be working overtime today. That is saying that it is such a hot day. We're going to be using the AC nonstop. Nonstop. Okay. So working overtime means just like you, if you have to work overtime, it means you work longer than normal. So that's the same thing. The AC will be on longer than normal. So the AC will be working overtime today. So this is just an alternative way of saying it. Let's keep going. I feel like I'm in a sauna. I say this quite a lot. You can especially say this if it's very humid at the same time. But even if it's not, even if it's a dry heat, there's also dry saunas and wet saunas. So you can use this if there's humidity or no humidity. You can say, I feel like I'm in a sauna. So you're comparing what it feels like outside to what it feels like in a sauna. So a sauna is usually a small room you go into that is extremely hot and you go to relax when you're at the spa. So that's a positive thing, but you don't want that when you're outside. I feel like I'm in a sauna. In a, because sauna is a noun. A sauna, a sauna, sauna, sauna. I feel like I'm in a sauna. I feel like I'm in a sauna. So that's a great one to say as well. How about this one? I'm sweating just sitting here. Okay, so sweat is what this man is experiencing right now. So, if you have water droplets on your forehead, under your arms, of course, that is sweat. Sweat. So, sweat is a noun, and that's why he's wiping the sweat off of his neck, back of his neck. Now, here, I'm sweating. So in this case, sweat is also a verb. So sweat is a noun. It represents the drops of water on you. And then sweat is a verb. And that's why it's in the present continuous. I'm sweating just sitting here. So that's how hot it is. I'm sweating just sitting here. So these are more natural ways of just saying it is very hot today. I'm sweating just sitting here. If you tell your friend that and your friend says, what's the weather like in your country today? And you say, I'm sweating just sitting here. Your friend understands that it is extremely hot in your country today, even without you saying it. So it's cloudy in Brazil. All right. It is freezing outside in the UK. Awesome job. Great job. It's freezing. It is. Use that contraction. Sound like a native speaker. It's freezing. It's freezing outside in the UK. I'm stifling in Japanese summer. Very nice. All right. Let's keep going. How about this? There's no way. There's no way. This is a very strong no. So if someone asks you to do something, to work overtime, and you say, there's no way I'm working overtime today. It's my wife's birthday, or it's my daughter's, my son's birthday, or you just don't want to. There's no way I'm working overtime. It's a very strong no. There's no way I'm biking in this heat. So biking just represents a form of physical exercise. So you could change this to whatever exercise you want. There's no way I'm jogging, running. Well, some things you would want to do, swimming would be nice. There's no way I'm playing soccer. There's no way I'm playing tennis, any sport in this heat. Okay, so a very strong no. There's no way. There's no way. So that's a good one. Reserve that for a very strong no. And yes, biking is cycling. You can use either one. I'm biking, I'm cycling. Either one, both of them are very common. And you can also use the go verb. So there's no way. You can also say, there's no way I'm going biking or cycling in this heat. So I'm just typing this out and then I will show it because it's very common to use the go verb. So there's no way. Your verb is go biking. Biking is always in the ing. Now, going is only in the ing because it's the present continuous. You could say, yesterday I went biking because biking is always in the ing, but your verb go is what you conjugate. I always go biking after work. But today, it is sweltering and there's no way I'm biking in this heat. So you could say that as well. I like this one. There's no way I'm cooking in this heat because when you cook food, it produces more heat and it's already so hot. I like that one. That's a great one. Good job. There's no way I'm cooking in this heat. And you can do this with some attitude to suggest a strong no. So you can use this with other things as well, like I gave the overtime example. Okay, let's keep going. Ooh, let's talk about windy weather, which can be dangerous. Sometimes it can be beneficial if you want to go sailing, but sometimes it can be dangerous as well or very unpleasant. So let's talk about windy weather. Windy weather. Yeah, very nice. You can absolutely say it's too cold to take the children for a walk. It's too cool to take the children for a walk. You need to say the children or our children. It's too cool to take the children for a walk. Very nice example. Yeah, this is a good one. I should have added this because of wind chill. Wind chill. It's cold outside and it feels even colder because of the wind chill. So the wind chill would be how cold it feels when you account for the wind moving the air, which always makes it feel colder. Very nice. You can say, wow, look at the trees swaying, swaying. It's really windy out there. So we already talked about out there just being outside. You could also simply say, it's really windy out. It's really windy outside. It's really windy out there. So you can use all three of them interchangeably. So swaying means moving back and forth. Wow, look at the trees swaying. So look at the trees and then your verb in ing, swaying. It's really windy out there. It's too windy to walk the dog, maybe you would say. Okay. The wind has picked up a lot since this morning. So, since this morning, that tells me that I want the action to start in the past and continue until now. So, you can use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous, depending on what the verb is. So the wind has picked up. In this case, to pick up means to increase because to pick up has many different meanings depending on context. Can you pick up some milk? Can you pick up the kids after work? So it just depends. In this case, it means increase. The wind has picked up. So it's gone from this to this. The wind has picked up a lot since this morning. So this means it was less windy in the morning and more windy now. The wind has picked up a lot since this morning. Yeah, sway. You could add back and forth, back and forth. You can add that. The trees are swaying back and forth in the wind. You don't need to just know. You can also just say the trees are swaying in the wind. It's really windy in my city today. Yes, very nice. What's your city? And yes, this video will be on YouTube. You may have to go to a different section of my homepage. So if you go to my channel homepage and then you go to the live lessons, you'll see all the live lessons and it will be posted either immediately or it might take 5 or 10 minutes to process after this class. But yes, you can rewatch it again and again, take screenshots, write down all the keywords as well. Okay, how about this one? It might be too windy to go kayaking. So again, we have our activity go and then kayaking. So to kayak is the verb, but here we're using it as go kayaking. So kayaking is when you're in a small boat, a non motorized boat, and then you have a paddle and then you move the paddle and there's two ends on the paddle and then you're in a small boat. It might be too windy to go kayaking. Let's wait it out. So let's wait it out, it being the wind or the weather. And if you wait something out, it's just an alternative to saying, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Well, you're waiting to see if the situation changes. So, will it become less windy? Will it become more windy? So, let's wait it out. Let's wait it out. Let's wait and see if the wind improves. And if it improves, then we can potentially go kayaking because they said might, which means it's a possibility. So, they haven't decided yet. It might be too windy. Now, because we're talking about the weather, it might be too windy to go kayaking. Let's wait it out. So you can replace this with whatever activity that you want. Even it might be too windy to have a picnic in the park because if it's an extremely strong wind, it can ruin your picnic. It's too windy to go for a walk. Let's wait and see. Exactly. Let's wait and see. Let's wait it out. Very nice. Yeah, we won't go kayaking unless the wind calms down. Exactly. Unless the wind calms down. Natives also commonly use unless the wind dies down. So calms down or dies down. If you ever hear a native say that, die down, it means become less strong. Kayaking is not a place, it's an activity. Okay, did you put down the patio umbrella? So, patio umbrella means that you have a sitting area on your patio or outside. It could be in your yard. And then there's a big umbrella that is there to block the sun, block the rain, whatever it is. So, when you go to a restaurant, in the outdoor areas you generally see these big umbrellas. You would call that a patio umbrella. Did you put down the patio umbrella? So the umbrella is up and then you put it down. So collapse the umbrella. It might blow away in this wind because I'm sure you've been at a restaurant and you see the umbrellas blow away. And it can be very dangerous because those umbrellas are large and they can crash into cars, break windows. So it can be quite dangerous. Okay. I hope this win doesn't knock out the power. So knock out the power. This suggests that maybe there's a power line here, and then maybe it's so windy that a tree falls down, and then the power is damaged. So that would be knock out the power. So the power represents electricity. Hopefully you know that because native speakers commonly use power to mean electricity. Oh, the power's out. We don't really say the electricity is out. We say the power's out. The power's out. I hope this wind doesn't knock out the power. So it doesn't cause the electricity to not function properly, which is very common. You could absolutely change this to I hope this rain, I hope this snow. Of course, wind is a common one. Okay, I hope this wind doesn't knock out the power. So I hope there are no power outages because of the weather. My favorite form of transportation, I love walking. Short distances, long distances. I love walking. This is what I would do for all my transportation if I could, but of course I can't for many reasons. So, here are some great sentences you can use while walking. You're so lucky you can walk to work. Do you know anyone who can walk to work? Does this apply to you? Or maybe you can walk to university or walk to church, walk to school, walk to a location that you routinely go to, walk to your parents' house, walk to your best friend's house. So if there is a routine location and you can walk. So notice we're using the verb walk, okay? You're so lucky to be lucky. Here we have the verb to be. You are. Are is the verb to be. You're so lucky you can walk to work. So can is our modal. Walk is the verb, and you use modal plus base verb. Walk to work. Walk to church. Walk to school. Walk to university. Walk to your mom's house. Walk to the grocery store, walk to the mall, whatever it is. Okay. I used to walk to my job. How nice. I walk daily to school. How nice of you. Unless it's freezing cold or pouring rain or boiling hot, there are many times when maybe you don't want to walk. I don't walk to work because my job is at home. Am I lucky? Exactly. I don't know. Do you like working from home? So only you can answer that. I used to be this lucky. It took me 15 minutes to walk to my office. That is so lucky. That's a very short walk. For me, 15 minutes is not far. Wow. I always walk to the park. How lucky. So if someone says something like that to you, you can reply back and say, how lucky, how lucky, how lucky. So that's short for how lucky it is that you can walk to the park, or how lucky you are that you can walk to the park. But instead of saying all that, a native speaker commonly just says, how lucky, how lucky. So you can add that one to your vocabulary as well. I walk to work every day. How lucky. Nice. I walk every day to my work. Very nice. Okay, that's great. We have a lot of walkers. A walker is a person who walks. Are you sure it's walkable? Are you sure it's walkable? So maybe you're telling your friend that, oh, let's walk to the movie theater, or let's walk to the mall, let's walk to the park, let's walk downtown. And then your friend says, are you sure it's walkable? So walkable means able to walk. So if something's walkable, usually it's because it isn't far. So the distance is reasonable to walk there. Okay. You're not going to be super tired, or it's not going to take you a super long time to get there. Are you sure it's walkable? Are you sure it's walkable? So you can use this as a question if someone suggests walking to a place that in your mind, it sounds like it's really far. So you might want to get confirmation. Yeah, you can hello all the way to Ghana, and you can absolutely just say, is that walkable? And that being, is the museum, is the mall, the movie theater, the restaurant, is that walkable? Is that walkable? Or maybe you say, we don't need to drive. It's only a 20-minute walk. So here, notice walk is what? What type of word is it in English grammar? It's a noun. It has to be because we have this article, and articles are used with nouns, not with verbs. So I'll walk. And remember, I explained if you see a time reference before a noun, it functions as an adjective. So it describes the walk. It's only a 20-minute walk. We don't need to drive or we don't need to take an Uber. We don't need to take the bus. It's only a 20-minute walk. So if you use only, you're making it sound like it's not a lot. It's only a 20-minute walk. Exactly. Article plus noun. And if you have an adjective, it's article plus adjective plus noun. A lot of students forget the article when they have an adjective. Adjectives do not replace articles. Article plus adjective plus noun. For me, 15-minute walk is not far. Yes. Me neither. Me neither. So if you want to agree, you would say me neither. Me neither. Me neither. Let's keep going. We should take an Uber. I don't want to risk getting caught in the rain. Okay, so we should take an Uber. You already know that. Should plus base verb. We use take with transportation. You need an article with Uber. And because it's a vowel sound, you need an. We should take an Uber. I don't want to risk getting caught in the rain. Okay, so you could simply say, I don't want to get caught in the rain. I'm I included the word risk, which is a verb, because it sounds like it's not guaranteed. It's just a possibility. So without it, if I say I don't want to get caught in the rain, it sounds like it's more definitive that it will rain. But if you use the word risk, it sounds like it's just a possibility. But even though it's a possibility, I don't want to take that chance. Okay. I don't want to risk. So, want to naturally in spoken English will become wanna. I don't want to risk. Now, risk is a gerund verb, which means the verb that follows is in the gerund. I don't want to risk getting caught in the rain. So, here to get caught in the rain. This means that you're walking and it starts raining. You don't have an umbrella, or you do have an umbrella, but it's a downpour. Even with an umbrella, you're still going to get wet. So it's just saying, I don't want to be outside when it rains. I don't want to get caught in the rain. So it's just an expression to get caught in the rain. Let's keep going. We definitely got our steps in today. Oh, what does this mean? Anyone know? Anyone know? Today is not walkable at my place because of, so you wouldn't use big to modify rain. You would say heavy because of heavy rain, because of heavy rain. Okay. So we definitely got our steps in today. Oh, awesome. Really? Remember, you always have to think about context. The context is walking, walking. So, what does this mean in terms of walking? If I said to you, we definitely got our steps in today. We walked a lot. We walked enough. Yes, exactly. Because nowadays, a lot of people wear these watches, or of course, you have on your phone a tracker, a fitness tracker that tells you how many steps you took today or whatever day it is. And there's a recommendation. I think you're supposed to get 10,000 steps per day. So if you walked a lot, it's like saying we walked the recommended amount today. Exactly. I walk 10,000 steps every day. That's amazing. Great job. Yes, my smartwatch counts my steps. Exactly. Exactly. Walked 10,000 steps. Oh, nice. That's amazing. Awesome. Yeah. We are physically active a lot today. Exactly. So, this is something that my husband and I, we always, after a day of walking, we always look at our steps and see how much we walked. And we always try to guess. Oh, I think we did 13,000. Oh, maybe 11,000. But either way, when we see it, we'll say something. Oh, we definitely got our steps in today. It means we walked more than the recommended amount. So it's a very natural thing to say. But you can only use this with walking. Okay. We definitely got our steps in today. Let's move on to driving. Is this something that you enjoy doing? I do not like driving. That is why I prefer walking or other forms of transportation. But of course, there are many times when you need to drive. So let's review some sentences you can use. This afternoon, we went for a scenic drive in the mountains. This is when I enjoy driving, when it's scenic, scenic. So here, notice the grammar. We went for a drive. So to go, this is our verb, for, and then drive is a noun, a drive, a drive. Scenic is the adjective that describes the drive. So if it's scenic, it means you saw many beautiful things. You probably drove quite slowly, or you probably weren't in a hurry. Maybe you even stopped and took some photos. But the word scenic means whatever you were looking at was very beautiful. This afternoon, we went for a scenic drive in the mountains. In the mountains. Woohoo, someone else who doesn't like driving. And someone who does like driving. I prefer driving to walking. I think that's probably most people. Oh, I don't know how to drive. Does this describe you? Okay. Let's keep going. Yes, scenic means picturesque. You could absolutely say, this afternoon we went for a picturesque drive in the mountains. So, scenic, picturesque, picturesque, picturesque. Very nice. Oh, yeah. I would like to do that too. To rent a luxury sports car. That would be really cool. I don't even think that option exists in my city, but I'm sure there are many places you can. That would be cool. I would like to do that as well. Okay. Well, yes, one day you'll learn how to drive. Something to look forward to. Let's keep going. I just need to get gas on our way out. I hear a lot of interesting ways that students try to communicate this, but it's native speakers, we just very simply say, get gas. Get gas. I need to get gas on our way out. So, on our way out just means we're leaving the house. We're driving, we're leaving the house. Maybe we're going to the mall, doesn't matter where we're going to work, movies, restaurant. And as we leave between the house and the destination, we need to get gas. So that's on our way out as we're leaving, basically. I just need to get gas. Just is not required, it's a word filler. It's like saying only, so it's just minimizing it. I need to get gas. Get gas. Get gas. I need to get gas on our way out. You could also say fill up. I just need to fill up on our way out. Fill up means you're going to fill the tank completely. So if you get to the gas station in North America, generally we don't have service gas stations. So we pump our own gas. So I don't need to tell anyone. I control how much gas I get. Okay, that's the norm in North America. But if you tell someone and they do the work for you, you would say to them, fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. And that means fill the tank entirely. Give me all the gas my car can take. Fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. No, we don't use recharge with, well, recharge is with an electric car because recharge is with batteries. It is not with gas, though. Okay. So recharge is with an electric car. So if you have an electric car, then absolutely you would use recharge. Um, in North America, we don't say petrol, we say gas. Always, always gas. We just say gas. Of course, you can say diesel, but in general, in North America, only like semi trucks, construction trucks take diesel. Regular cars don't take diesel in North America. Generally, just large trucks and large vehicles. Okay. So just get gas. I need to get gas. Where can I get gas? Should we get gas before we go? Get gas. Get gas. It's the easiest thing. No, just say gas. Gas, gas, gas. Bye, Manuel. Merry Christmas to you and your family. And I will see you in the new year. Bye. Thank you for being such an amazing student. Okay, just gas, everyone. Just gas. Yes, the full word is gasoline. Nobody says that in North America. You just would sound weird saying it. Gas, gas, gas. Get gas. That's all you need to say. Okay. Oh no, we took the wrong exit. This happened to me on what day was it? Saturday. As we were going for a scenic drive in the mountains. Yep, that was true. We went for a scenic drive in the mountains. It was beautiful. And yes, we took the wrong exit. Oh no, we took the wrong exit. Exit is used with highway driving. Okay. If you're just driving on a residential street, you wouldn't say exit. You would say, we took the wrong turn. We took the wrong turn. We took the wrong turn. But on the exit, or on, excuse me, on the highway, you use the word exit. We took the wrong exit. So in my case, there was an exit here and an exit here, but one was going north and one was going south. And I couldn't tell on the GPS which one it was. So I took the first one and it was the wrong exit. Thankfully, it only took 5 minutes to just come back and then take the second one. Oh, but that's not fun. Why don't we just ask someone? You don't ask to someone, you just ask someone since we got lost. Yeah, why don't we just ask someone how to get there? Why don't we just ask someone what exit we need? Yeah, missed the exit. You could absolutely say that as well. So you're driving and the GPS tells you take the exit, but you didn't get there in time. There's a lot of cars. Oh, I missed the exit. So it means you didn't take the exit and then you see it in the rear view mirror. And then you have to take the next one and go back around. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Ah, we never miss the exit. Good for you. I always get lost when I drive, even with a GPS. So good for you. You need to teach me your tricks. Let's keep going. I like this. If you take the wrong exit, avoid dangerous maneuvers. Stay calm, don't panic, and proceed to the next exit. That's true. I agree with you on that one. Well said. Yeah, hello. We took the wrong exit and got lost to get lost. Exactly. Are there tolls on this route? So, do you have tolls on your highways? So, a toll is when you get to a point on a highway, and generally highways, I don't know, are there tolls not on highways? In my experience, it's always on highways. You get to a point and you have to pay. Now, this is where you can use that word pass. Remember, we talked about a bus pass? Well, you can have a pass that generally goes on your windshield. So the window of your car is a windshield. And then you can go through the toll, and then the pass allows you to, or either the pass will just bill you directly. Either way. Okay. You have tolls on the highways. A toll is when you get to a point on the highway and you have to pay money to continue. So it's a fee that you have to pay. Yeah, exactly. It's a fee. It costs money. Yeah. Is this a toll road? You can absolutely say that. So, is this a toll road? Are there tolls? So, here, a toll is a noun, it's a place where you have to pay money in order to continue. Yeah, a place where you pay. Excellent. Well said. So, are there tolls? Toll is a noun. Are there tolls on this route? So, should we be prepared to pay money if we want to take this route? Exactly. An easy pass is like a little thing you put on your windshield, and then you can just go through the toll without paying because the pass you've already paid. All right. Okay. Fee we pay for the road. Exactly. Let's keep going. This lane is so backed up. What does that mean? Remember, we're in the context of driving. This lane is so backed up. This lane is so backed up. So if you're driving on a road and you drive in a lane, so you might talk about this highway has 4 lanes. There are 4 areas where you can drive. So there is room for four cars side by side. So a lane is generally marked by dotted lines. So dotted lines mark a lane. They tell you where the lane is, okay? So let's say you're driving, but this lane on the highway, just or a residential road, it doesn't have to be a highway, it can be a regular road. This lane all of a sudden isn't moving. But this lane beside it, the cars are just going no problem. But for some reason, this lane, all the cars are sitting there. Maybe there's an accident, or maybe there's an exit, or maybe cars are merging on. So there's probably a reason why. Yeah. So is full of cars or is blocked? Great way of explaining it. Yeah, you can say congested. Congested means the traffic is heavy. So you can absolutely say congested. This lane is at a standstill. At a standstill means the cars are not moving. Okay? At a standstill. Well done. That's a great phrase. Awesome. Let's keep going. So maybe this is what I suggested. This lane is so backed up, the cars just are not moving. I think there's an accident up ahead. So up ahead just means at some point further on. So if we keep driving, we will see an accident up ahead, up ahead. I think there's an accident up ahead. So, an accident, this is the noun form. This is when one car and then another car hits it. You would say that's an accident, an accident. Okay. I think there's an accident up ahead, and that's why the lane is backed up, backed up. So, completely congested. So, if that happens and this lane is backed up, you probably want to change lanes. So, to change lanes is when you go from one lane to another lane, to change lanes. Let's keep going. How about this? Tell John we're stuck in traffic and we'll be 15 minutes late. Okay. So if there's an accident up ahead, the lane or the whole highway is at a standstill. Thank you to that student who shared that. Is at a standstill, which means no one is moving. Then if you're the driver, you could say to the passenger, tell John we're stuck in traffic. So to be stuck in traffic, your verb is to be. We are, as a contraction, we're stuck. So stuck is in the third form, and then is your verb to be that you need to conjugate. We're stuck in traffic. We're stuck in traffic and will be 15 minutes late. So here, minutes is a regular time reference. It's not an adjective, and that's why you have to add the S here. We will be 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, late, late. Okay. Yeah. And that's the reason why you're late. So now John at least can order a coffee or can leave his house 15 minutes later. So, first, let's talk about starting a new habit. So, why don't you share a habit that you have started recently or that you would like to start? So, put it in the comments and we'll see the vocabulary that you use and the grammar as well. So, you can say perhaps because we are just days into the new year, 2026, you might say, my New Year's resolution is to go to the gym 3 times per week. So notice here, I put in bold the word resolution. Resolution. This is a term that we use to represent a goal, but a goal that you make in the new year. So you only use this term generally in the middle of December until maybe the end of January, where you're talking about resolutions, your goals for the new year. So only use this at this time of year. Okay, so what's your resolution? Do you have one? And notice how I said 3 times per week. In written English, you will see just an X to represent times. But notice how I pronounce it. You pronounce it as times with the S on it, 3 times per week. So that's the same as saying 3 days per week, 3 times per week. So now I'll say this fast and you can listen to my pronunciation. My New Year's resolution is to go to the gym 3 times per week. So, what about you? What's your New Year's resolution? Share that in the comments. How about this? Remember, outside of the new year, you would just use the word goal. My goal. My goal is to only have sweets once per week. Once per week. Now, I could say 1 time per week, but you can also use ordinal numbers, mainly with once or twice. Once per week, twice per week, 3 times per week, 4 times per week, 5 times per week. So once, twice, per week, per week, per week. My goal is to only, so you want to limit to only have sweets. Sweets represents anything that is high in sugar. Cookies, cakes, muffins, chocolate, candy, all of those are in the category of sweets. My goal is to only have sweets once per week. Now notice the goal is possessive. My goal, my goal. If you're talking about your family, you might say our goal or my family's goal. Or if you're talking about someone else, you would say my cousin's goal, my coworker's goal. So notice it's possessive. Let's keep going. How about this? I'm slowly building a habit of exercising after work. I'm slowly building a habit. So notice I put in bold the word build because the verb that you use with a habit is commonly build to represent that you start, but then you continue until it's a part of your routine. Once it's a part of your routine and you're consistently doing it, then you can just say, I have a habit, or I always exercise after work. But if you're building a habit, it means at this point you're not doing it consistently yet because it's new. I'm slowly building a habit of is a preposition. That's why you have your verb in ing, of exercising after work. So Ariel said, my goal is to only have 1 cup of coffee a day. Excellent goal, Ariel. My goal is to speak English more. Well, of course, great goal. My goal is to always participate in your show. Well, thank you so much. I love that goal. Marta said, I'm slowly building a habit of exercising after work. Well, that's what I said, but great job. Feel free to try something different. My New Year's resolution is to continue studying English. That's amazing. I'm so glad. All right, let's go. Let's go, everyone. My goal is to save up for stuff. Sure, stuff is pretty vague. You probably want to be more specific to make it sound more advanced. Okay. I have already built a habit of learning English every day. Exactly. I love how you put that as a completed action. I have already built a habit. So now, because it's already built, you can just say, I learn English every day. So once the habit is built, you can use the present simple because the present simple is used for habits. And you can use an adverb of frequency like I always, I usually, or I never eat sweets after dinner, for example. And thank you so much, Jorge, for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate that. Okay, let's keep going. How about this? It's better to ease into a habit than go all in. Then go all in. If you go all in, it means you do the maximum effort or the maximum goal from day one. So I want to start running. On day one, I run for 10 miles or 10 kilometers on day one. Okay. If I want to ease into the habit, I start slowly and then I add more day by day. So if my goal is to run 10 kilometers, then on day one, I walk 1 kilometer. On day 5, I run 1 kilometer, and et cetera, until I eventually run for 10 kilometers. So that would be ease into it. So it's better to ease into a habit than go all in. What do you think? Do you agree with this or do you disagree with this? It probably depends on the habit that you're trying to build, the habit you're trying to build. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm making sleep a priority from now on. So, if someone asks you about your goals or your New Year's resolutions, you don't have to use the word goal or resolution. You can use other vocabulary, such as here I have in bold, to make something a priority. So, your verb is make, it's conjugated in the present continuous. I'm making, my something is sleep, so, sleep represents the amount I sleep and the quality of my sleep. I'm making sleep a priority, a priority. I'm making English a priority. I'm making learning English a priority. So, if you use a verb, it would be in the ing form. And from now on, it means starting today. Starting today, I'm making sleep a priority. Starting today, I'm making learning English with JForrest English a priority. And hopefully you say that. How about breaking a bad habit? So we have the verb break, which of course has different meanings. In this context, when you break a bad habit, it means you stop, you end the bad habit. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate that. So that's the verb that you can use to mean end or stop a bad habit. So you might say, I'm trying to break my habit. Now, what type of habit? So here I'm giving the information before the word habit. I'm trying to break my late night scrolling habit. So I could certainly just say, I'm trying to break my scrolling habit. So that means your habit of scrolling. But like this woman is doing, it looks like it's late at night. She isn't sleeping. She's not making sleep a priority. She's on her phone. So maybe this is a bad habit that she needs to break, which means end or stop. I'm trying to break my late night scrolling habit. Now, maybe you can say, my goal is to break, my resolution is to break my late night scrolling habit. So think of all the vocabulary that you're learning and how you can use it in different sentence structures. I'm trying to break my late night scrolling habit. Maybe that's a habit you need to break as well. How about this? Scrolling is a mindless habit for me. So notice I'm starting with the verb in ing. This is a gerund sentence, scrolling. So this is the action. Scrolling is a mindless habit. If we describe something as a mindless habit, this sounds negative. Okay, mindless habit. It means it's something you do without thinking, but not in a positive way. So you just pick up your phone because you're bored, or you pick up your phone because it's an addiction. You don't actually have something specific to look at on your phone. You just do it unconsciously because you have a habit, but it's a negative habit. Okay. So you can use the word mindless to represent, just imagine like you're kind of like a zombie when you do it. You're not really consciously thinking, you're just mindlessly scrolling on your phone. So here you can use it as an adjective, or you can also use it as an adverb, like I just did. She's mindlessly scrolling on her phone. Okay. Biting my nails is a mindless habit for me. Yeah. So when you're watching TV, you don't even know you're doing it. And then all of a sudden your partner or your family member goes like this and says, stop biting your nails. And you didn't even consciously know you were biting your nails because it's a mindless habit. It's just a pattern that you do, but it's negative. So we only use mindless habit for negative habits. Okay, let's keep going. As scrolling is one of my bad habits, I must break. Just spelling is incorrect. I must break that. Well, that's great that you recognize it. Okay, how about this one? Last week, I completely cut out sugar and it's been tough. So, what does this mean? Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. Playing with my hair is a mindless habit I have. Yeah. So you might be, again, you're in a meeting at work, and men, you probably don't do this very often, but women, you might notice we often touch our hair, we go like this, but often it's a mindless habit. I don't say to myself, I want to touch my hair. It just happens automatically, but it's a negative thing. Very nice example. I like that. Okay. Last week, I completely cut out sugar and it's been tough. What does this mean? If you cut out and I added completely, it means zero sugar. So now I do not consume any sugar. Okay. So you go from having your regular diet and then you go to zero. So this is the example of I didn't ease into it. I didn't go from 10 tablespoons to 9 to 8 to 7 and then eventually to zero. I went from 10 to zero. I cut out sugar and it's been tough. Tough is another word, of course, for difficult. Last week, I completely cut back sugar. So you wouldn't use completely because completely means entirely, but cut back just means reduce. So you would say, last week, I cut back on sugar and it's been so hard. Okay, great example though. But I'm glad you use that because let's clarify. You might say, I don't think I can cut out sugar. So remember, cut out means eliminate, remove entirely. So you have zero sugar. I don't think I can cut out sugar, but I'm trying to cut down. I'm trying to cut back. Now, if you include the noun, which would be it, because I've already said sugar, sugar represents it, you must use the preposition on. So I'm trying to cut down on sugar. I'm trying to cut back on scrolling, for example. So cut down back means reduce, cut out means eliminate. So they're not the same meaning. How about this? I fell back into eating sweets during the holidays. Ooh, I'm sure this describes most people. I fell back into. So I fell back, that would be literally, but if you fall back into something, it means you return to something you previously did, but that something is negative. So we only use this in negative things. I wouldn't say I fell back into learning English. I fell back into exercising 3 times a week because those are positive things. I fell back into making sleep a priority. No, because those are positive. So you only use to fall back into. So the verb is fall, but this is the past simple because it's in the past. I fell back into. I returned to a negative habit. I fell back into eating. Into is a preposition, so you need your verb in ing. I fell back into eating sweets during the holidays. So during the holidays, I started a negative habit again. I broke the habit, but then I returned to the habit. I fell back into smoking. Exactly. We only use this during with negatives. I fell back into over drinking coffee during the holidays. Great job because you added over, which means more than you should. Over drinking more than you should. I fell back into eating junk food during the holidays. Excellent example. I keep falling back into bad habits. Absolutely. You can just make a more general statement. And I keep means you do it again and again. So you make some progress. Oh, wow, that's great. I've gone 2 weeks without sugar. But then there's a party, you have sugar. The next day, you have sugar again. So you fall back into it and you keep doing that. Well done. I fell back into sleeping late at night. Exactly. Very nice. I fell back into scrolling. I fell back into staying up late. So you would just say, I fell back into staying up late or late at night. Okay. I fell back into the habit of eating crisps during last February. Exactly. Well done. Oh, I fell back into gossiping. Exactly. Negative habits. People, there, well, the word gossip is negative. It sounds negative. Well done. Okay. Awesome job, everyone. I love this. How about this? I'm trying to break the cycle of. Now, you can break the cycle of noun or gerund verb. A noun is a something. Procrastination is the noun. It's a something. Procrastinating in the ing form is the verb. It represents the action. So you can break the cycle of a noun or a verb. Now, when you break the cycle, it's just like breaking a bad habit. But if you say it's a cycle, it sounds like it's just a routine that happens again and again. So you have this cycle of procrastinating. So maybe for you, this just think of a cycle as a routine. So the cycle might be something like on Monday, I say I'm not going to procrastinate. On Tuesday, I don't procrastinate. On Thursday, I'm really tired and I procrastinate. All weekend, I procrastinate. Monday, I'm not going to procrastinate. And then the same thing happens again and again and again. So that's what it means by cycle. It just represents that there's a specific pattern that you have and it happens again and again. So that's why it's just using cycle instead of just saying, I'm trying to break the habit of. So it's just slightly different. You need to complete the sentence. The two women, I know this might be confusing because there are four women in the image. So, not the women working at the airport, the ones wearing the matching outfits. They are the agents, not the agents. The passengers, the ones traveling, the two women, what are they doing? Can you complete the action? And while you think of it, let me say hello to all my wonderful students here. Hello, Horatio, Hidaki, Ariel. Thank you so much for your generosity. I'm so glad to have you here. Hello, everyone. And I saw my student Deepa. Hello, good morning. Hello, Manuel. Okay, so the two women are interesting. Are checking in their suitcases. What do you think about that? Are checking in. Now, Mirik, make sure you put this in a full sentence because if I said the two women checking in, that's grammatically incorrect, right? So you have to make sure you're forming a complete sentence. So we have checking in. They are passing through check in. Okay. They deposit their luggage. That sounds a little formal, a little literal. It's not what we would use in everyday English. Weighing their luggage. So the spelling is not correct, but the meaning is there. The two women are weighing the luggage on the scale. You're right. The scale is what tells you the weight of your luggage. Okay, so this is what I wrote, everyone. The two women are checking in, are checking in. Okay, so the two passengers are checking in. One agent, the agent is the woman working at the airport. One agent is checking the women in. So the agent is doing the action. The agent is checking someone in. So if you are an employee at a hotel, at an airport, maybe even at a certain conference or lecture, you have to check the attendees in. So to register them. Now, one agent, the other one, the one who is touching the suitcase, is checking their bags. Oh, so notice the difference. Check in, which means register, is a phrasal verb to check in. Now, I don't know about you. I don't go to the agent. I check in online. I check in online. Does that describe you? So when I get to the airport, I'm already checked in. I don't do it with an agent because it's way faster to do it online. But if you have a bag, a suitcase, and you're checking the suitcase, then you have to go to the agent. I'm checking the suitcase. But keep in mind, everyone, I'm not saying check in the luggage. You don't check in your bag. You check your bag. You check your bag. So phrasal verb, check in is register. Check your bag is to leave your bag with the flight attendants, with the agents. Okay. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. Let's keep going. And I have more quizzes for you. So, what about you? Do you check in with the agents or do you check in online when you fly? Now, the agents may ask the passengers, how many bags are you checking today? Sorry, this is a typo. It should say you, not your. How many bags are you checking today? Remember, you don't check in bags, you check bags. Bags is a general term. You could say suitcases as well. Bags just refers to everything as well. Now, they might also say, which happened to me the last time I flew, this is what happened. This bag is overweight. Overweight. What does that mean, everyone? This bag is overweight. You'll need to take something out. So I was that person who had to open my suitcase in front of everyone and rearrange things. And then I had to find some heavy objects and I had to put them in the other suitcase and I had to put some things in my purse as well. So I was that person. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. So if it is overweight, it means it weighs too much. It weighs too much. So if the maximum weight is 50 pounds, well, then it's 52, 55, anything over 50. Okay. It wouldn't, this is not what they would say though. Excessive weight is a direct translation. Overweight is the term. Overweight, overweight. Okay, your baggage is overweight. You will need to pay off the excess before checking in. Okay, you wouldn't say pay off the excess. I don't know what that means, but you could say your bag is overweight. All right. Yes, overweight. The weight is beyond more than the limit, the maximum. Let's keep going. Are you ready for this quiz? Here's your, what is this? Here's your, who knows? Who knows? Oh, close, Manuel. Yeah, you could say ticket. You can say ticket for sure. And yes, Natalia got it. Woohoo, Natalia, you got it. Alexander got it. Awesome job. Not fly ticket. So if you called it a ticket, it would be flight ticket. Now, we do say ticket, but the absolute, if you could only choose one thing, if you could only choose one, I would 100% say boarding pass. 100% boarding pass, but not board ticket. Boarding pass. Boarding pass. Here's your boarding pass. Because what does it allow you to do? It allows you to board the plane. Okay. Very good eye. Very good eye. Here's your boarding pass to Turkey because this person is traveling from JFK, the name of the airport, New York, Manhattan, from Manhattan to Istanbul. All right. Very good eye. Let's keep going, everyone. What do we have next? Well, your boarding pass. So, here are some questions you may ask. Now, I would ask these questions before I'm given my boarding pass because once you receive your boarding pass, then it's more work for the gate agent if they have to make any changes. Okay, but you can ask them, am I sitting in a window or aisle? Which is your preferred seat? Am I sitting in a window or aisle? Is there an aisle seat available? Now, that's if you want the aisle. Okay. Now, if you prefer the window, then you would say, is there a window seat available? So notice the verb is sit, but the noun is seat. So I'm sitting on a seat. Okay. Now you might ask, this flight leaves out a terminal 2. So that's just the area of the airport. Some airports are massive. So they divide the airports into different terminals. And generally, they have either names, numbers, or letters for the terminal. In this case, they have numbers. So you might ask the gate agent, how long will it take to get to terminal 2? Because some airports, it can take you 20 minutes just to get to the terminal. So you know you better go quickly. Okay, so these are some questions you may ask the gate agent. Is there a window? Is there a window seat available? Is there a window seat available? You got it. Way to go. I prefer a window seat. Very nice. Very nice. This person, Hidaki. Aisle, please. Could I have an aisle seat? You can absolutely call it a ticket. You can. Okay. So that's correct. I was just saying if there was only one name to call it a boarding pass. A boarding pass. That's what the gate agent will say. The gate agent will not say, here's your ticket. They'll say, here's your boarding pass. Be like, oh no, I lost my boarding pass. The person at customs will ask you, can I see your boarding pass? So that is the terminology that they will use in the airport. They will understand you if you call it a ticket, but that's not what the employees of an airport will say. Okay, let's keep going. What else do we have? You have your boarding pass. You've checked in. You've checked your bags. You have your boarding pass. Now you need to, do you know? Just guess. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. It means guess anything. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, guess. Now you need to, what are these people doing in line? What do you think? Yeah, for sure. Now you need to move to the gate. Yes, for sure. That works. Yeah. Now you need to go through the TSA security. Yeah. Security. Security. Yeah. So you absolutely you have to go to the gate. Before you go to the gate, you have to do this. You have to go through security. An excellent job, Ariel, because you got the verb correct. So we use a phrasal verb here, which is go through. Now you need to go through security. Now you can absolutely call it TSA security or whatever other official name that may be used. But yes, you need to go through security, which means you successfully complete security. You enter and you exit and everything is approved. That is go through security. Yeah, very nicely done, everyone. Go through security. Absolutely. Okay. And yes, for sure, you may need to go through customs as well. Customs and security, they're technically two different things, but let's just imagine you're flying domestically where you don't have to go through customs. Okay, so, but absolutely, you could say you need to go through customs as well. Okay. So the poor security agents, they always look frustrated and stressed out and tired. I always feel bad for them because they don't have an easy job and people are quite rude to them. So, these are generally questions that they ask everyone as people are standing in line. They're waiting to go through security. These are some of the questions that I am frequently asked. Of course, there could be other questions, but this is what I generally hear. Do you have any liquids? Do you have a laptop or tablet in your bag? Do you have anything in your pockets? Okay. So often the agents, they ask it in question form, but they absolutely could make imperative statements. So what is an imperative? The imperative verb. The imperative form is for instructions. So instead of asking, do you have any liquids? They might give you an instruction and say, remove liquids from your bag, remove your laptop from your bag, remove your items from your pockets. So they may make imperative statements. They also may use the modal verb must. Must as a modal verb is used in official context when it is a legal requirement. You must remove liquids from your suitcase, from your bags. You must remove your laptop from your bag. You must remove the items in your pockets. Okay, so question form, imperative form, or modal verb form with must. You must remove. Because remember, with a modal verb, you use subject, modal, base verb. But with the imperative, you use the base verb form. Remove liquids from your bags. Okay, so those are some general general things that the security agents will say to you in order for you to go through security. So maybe if you were asking a question, you would say, must I or must we? Because if you say must you, it's like you're directing that to the agent. Now the agent doesn't have a laptop in her bag and the agent doesn't remove it. So it would be must I? Must I remove? Or must we, meaning all the passengers? Okay. So if you wanted to ask them, you could say that. Yeah, exactly. You must remove liquids. Let's keep going. Oh, have you ever had this where you actually have to go on the ground to do what the action is? So the are the plane. And an additional quiz for you. What's the name of the ground here? Because you can call it ground for sure, but there's a specific name for ground at an airport. So if you know that, that is a bonus. Okay. I see some correct answers. Yeah, passengers are boarding. Passengers are boarding. Passengers are boarding. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, of course, in everyday English, you would say the people are getting on the plane. Okay. You would say that just in a general sense. But at the airport, there are just specific terms used. So, the term for people, which I've used many, many times, is passengers. Passengers. The passengers, and the term for get on is board. That's what they use at an airport. So the passengers are boarding the plane. The passengers are boarding the plane. And yes, tarmac, tarmac, that's the word for the ground at the airport. So the tarmac. Have you ever boarded on the tarmac? I have. It's very weird. It's weird to walk outside an airport and the planes look so massive when you're on the tarmac. It's kind of cool though. Okay. Good job. Good job. Well done. We have A, B, C, D, E, F. You have to name what these are. Okay. So, what is A? What is B? What is C? What is D, E, F? What are the names of these? I've already said 3 of them. And an additional one should be very obvious based on your answer for a different one. Okay. I'll give you some time. A is what? B is what? C is what? I see some answers coming in. Oh, who knows what F is? And hopefully you can see D. I see some answers coming in. I don't see any answers to D, E, or F. Nobody knows what D, E, or F is? Oh, someone just provided an answer for D. What about E? What is E? What is F? Oh, someone just tried E. And take a wild guess. I've used that before in this class. Take a wild guess. It just means guess. Even if you have no idea what the answer is, this isn't a real test. So there's no consequence if you get the answer wrong. So in this case, it's completely risk-free. If you take a wild guess and you're completely wrong, who cares? Okay. I will give you a few more seconds because I see the answers coming in. Lots of interesting answers for sure. I just saw an answer for F. Okay. People don't seem to know E, which is interesting. Okay. I just saw an answer for E. F, I've seen some interesting answers for F, but I love it. Take a wild guess. Have fun with it. Be creative. What does it look like to you? If you were going to name it, what would you say? Okay. Yeah, F is for filling the stuff. I like it. Why not? Are you ready? Are you ready for the correct answers? Drum roll. Someone give me a drum roll. Let's see the answers. They're still coming in. Oh, trunk. Interesting. Interesting. Lots of good answers, everyone. Very creative. Very creative. Okay. So the answers are A is an aisle seat. Aisle seat. Notice that pronunciation. The pronunciation and spelling are very different. Aisle, I, O, I, and then that dark L, O, aisle, aisle. Two sounds, aisle, aisle, aisle seat. B is the middle seat. Nobody wants that. C is the window seat. D is a seatbelt, seatbelt. E is the aisle, okay? Which makes sense. Why is it called the aisle seat? Why is A the aisle seat? Because it's closest to the aisle. This is what you walk in on a plane. So the flight attendants will say things like, keep the aisles clear. Keep the aisle clear, which means don't stay in the aisle because it's tiny. If there's a person standing in the aisle, it's impossible to get around that person. So the flight attendant will say, keep the aisle clear, move out of the aisle. Okay, so E is aisle and F is the overhead bin. If you just said bin, you could say that, the bin, but it's the overhead bin. Overhead, because this is your head and the location is over. It's over the passengers' heads. And this is where you store your carry-on bags. You store your carry-on bags or your purse, your backpack, your jacket in the overhead bin or under your seat, depending on the size of your item. Now, I put in parentheses for D, fasten or secure. These are the verbs that you would use with seatbelt. So the flight attendant would say, please fasten your seatbelt before takeoff. Please secure your seatbelt before takeoff. So it's just two separate terms, but both are commonly used, and they are both verbs. To fasten. The T is silent. Fasten, fasten, fasten. Please fasten your seatbelt. Please secure your seatbelt. Now, first, let's talk about when you're managing work and priorities. Of course, this is something you do every day, and you can use these phrases if you work by yourself, if you work in a small team, in a large team, it does not matter what type of work you do. So you can say, I need to get on top of this. Ooh, I need to get on top of this. I see this a lot. Now, this, when I use this, is when I'm experiencing a problem or a difficult situation. So let's say my website is not working and I don't know why. So I'm trying to fix it. And then I might say to someone or just say out loud, I need to get on top of this. And this is, I need to get on top of why my website isn't working. So we use this when there is a problem or a negative situation, and you want to gain control of that. Now, you can use this with a routine task. Maybe you're just filling out your routine expense report, but there's some sort of negative situation. It's either taking you too long or something isn't working. I need to get on top of this. Yeah, you could use under control, absolutely. But we always have to think of what the grammar is of the sentence. So if you want to use under control, you would say, I need to get this under control. Okay, so the sentence structure would be different. So here, get on top of something. Now, in your sentence structure, to get something under control. To get something under control. And thank you so much for your contribution so I can continue going live. Okay, awesome job, Manuel. I need to get on top of why I am always late for everything. Excellent sentence. And way to go. Instead of just saying this or that, putting a full clause, starting with a WH. Why? Well done, Manuel. Well done. I love that. Hello, all the way to Morocco. I need to get on top of connection issues. Yeah, exactly. I need to get on top of these connection issues, my connection issues. Exactly. Well done. Okay, how about this? You might be more familiar with this expression. It's always very widely taught by English teachers. This has been on my plate all week. This has been on my plate all week. Ooh, do you know what this means? Well, you can see it right here. This has been on my plate all week. So, this is a task. It doesn't have to be a negative task like in the last example. It can just be any task. So, I have my tasks here. As you can see, some of them are done, some of them are not. So, I could say, this has been on my plate all week. Now, I could say this is on my plate right now. So the expression is to be on someone's plate. Okay, my plate. This has been on our plate. This has been on my husband's plate. So it has to be possessive to whoever the person is. So it's just saying that it's someone's responsibility. So this has been on my plate. This task, it's my responsibility to complete. All right. So think of something that has been on your plate all week. And instead of this, share it. Share it in the comments. So maybe it could be completing my expenses, filing my taxes, cleaning my kitchen. You don't have to use it just for a work expression. I'm teaching this in the context of work, but think of how it could be outside of work. Maybe it is fixing my kids' costume has been on my plate all week. So it can be something household related as well. Okay, so that is an excellent idiom to have in your vocabulary. So Natalia, oh, hello. And Natalia said, cooking has been on my plate all week. Yeah, exactly. So this is a specific task. So maybe you have to cook a dinner for family that's coming on the weekend. So that task has been on your plate all week. And notice the grammar. It's the present perfect because the verb to be, we don't put that in the continuous form. And it started in the past and it continues until now. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're back in town and you're back to our lessons. That's great. Okay, let's keep going. How about this one? Let's prioritize this before the deadline. So here it's just a regular word, prioritize. It's not a phrasal verb, it's not an idiom, it's not an expression, it's one word, prioritize. But I hear mistakes with this and also the pronunciation. Prioritize, 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 prior. So notice that or is the stress sound. Prioritize, prioritize. Okay, before the deadline. So when you prioritize something, just like I'm sure you have prioritized your English classes, your English studies, your English lessons, whatever it is, you've prioritized preparing for the IELTS, for example, you've said that task is important. So these are all the things I need to do. They are not prioritized. If they were prioritized, I probably would have the most important at the top and then the least important at the bottom. And I would make sure I do this one first. So it's a great thing to do. Prioritize your tasks. Okay, so Hidaki said, language studying has been on my plate all week. It's welcoming busy. I'm not sure what you mean by welcoming busy, but great job for the first part of the sentence. My son's studies, so studies is plural, so are have always been on my plate. So a few things here. You need have with the present perfect, and you wouldn't use always because always is for the present simple. So my son's studies, plural, have been, no always, have been on my plate all week. All right, we've got part of a correct sentence there. Let's prioritize English lessons before the deadline. Exactly. Now, maybe there isn't a specific deadline, but some things there are. You might have homework to submit. You might have an IELTS deadline. You've already booked your IELTS exam, or I have deadlines for creating English lessons. So for me, there's a deadline as well, but there isn't always a deadline. Thank you. Let's prioritize Jennifer's live video before it ends. Let's do it. Put yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. I love that. Thank you. How about this? Oh, this is an important one. Native speakers use this a lot, and often students get confused with this. But it's very simple. I'm trying to wrap this up by end of day. So just to wrap something up, I'm trying to complete, finish or complete. So you may hear myself or other YouTubers, course content creators say, let's wrap up. Oh, we're wrapping up in 5 minutes. Oh, we'll wrap up after this slide. So this is used so frequently in a business context and also in a non-business context as well. I'm trying to wrap this up by end of day, end of day. Now notice end of day, I dropped the preposition the end of the day, because end of day is business speak. It's a business term. And often you will see this as an acronym. Okay, so this is due by EOD. In business English, we use a lot of acronyms, So we take phrases like end of day and we turn it into EOD, because have you heard the expression, time is money, time is money? In the business world, we try to do everything as quickly as possible. So it's faster to just write EOD than writing end of day. Okay. So this is due by EOD. Now, for you, EOD might be 5 p.m. because that's when your work day ends. For someone else, their EOD might be 8 p.m. It might be 3 p.m. So whatever time that is for you. Okay, so this is absolutely important one, both the EOD, end of day, and to wrap something up. Even if I were explaining something to you, let's say how to use the present perfect, I might say, I need to wrap this up and move on. So I need to end my discussion of the present perfect and move on to teaching something else, because that actually wasn't the purpose of my lesson. I just need to explain that. So I need to wrap this up. So I'm going to wrap up this slide and move on. Okay. Oh, this is an important one. Native speakers, we use this as an excuse or as a justification. That task fell through the cracks. So you didn't do something. You forgot, but you want to let the person know it was unintentional, which means you didn't purposely not complete the task. You simply forgot. But it sounds a little more professional to say something like that task fell through the cracks. Now, often we offer an apology. So let's say my boss says, hey, Jennifer, where's the updated presentation? It was due EOD. And that was yesterday. It was due EOD yesterday. So today he's like, where's the presentation? So he says, hey, Jennifer, where's the updated presentation? And I go, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It completely fell through the cracks. So it means I forgot, but it's just an alternative way to saying that. So you can use this when you want to admit to someone that you didn't do something, but it was unintentional. Okay. So that is a great one because native speakers use this a lot. Let's go on to problems, delays, and difficult situations. It wouldn't be life without these. And certainly in business, I would say 50% or more of my to do list is the result of problems, delays, and difficult situations. Let's keep going. We've run into a few issues. So remember before I explained I need to run this idea by you, to run something by someone. But if you run into a few issues, it means you encounter these issues, which are negative. So you could say problems, and it was unexpected. So you're updating your website. That is the task. You have to update a website and you know how to do it. But as you're updating it, you keep getting an error message, or you're trying to add an image and it just has a little thumbnail and it's not generating properly. So you can say, oh, I ran into a few problems as I was updating my website because you know how to do this. You've done it before. So it was unexpected. So that would be I've ran into a few issues. So your verb is to run, and in this sentence is conjugated in the present perfect. In this case, the present perfect is used to show that connection to the present. So you ran into the issues 10 minutes ago, but you're presenting it as so now. So now our website is down. So now users can't download the free speaking guide because this is from my website. So now there's a result in the present. That's why they're using the present perfect here. We might not be overcomplicating this because we have already run into a few issues. Exactly. So you could use it in the negative. We might not be overcomplicating this. I love it. Well done. We've run into a few issues lately. Exactly. Let's keep going. How about this? This is turning into a bottleneck. Ooh, a bottleneck. Do you know this expression? You can use this in a business context, of course. This is often used in daily life to talk about traffic. You're driving on the highway and everything is going well, and then all of a sudden there's one point in the highway where traffic is always so slow. Because at that one point in the highway, multiple lanes merge in, and maybe equally a lane is an exit. So there's an entrance and an exit right in this specific part of the highway. That part of the highway is a bottleneck. A bottleneck. Okay. That's the point where progress slows. So we do commonly use this to talk about traffic. Oh, don't take that route. There's always a bottleneck. There's always a bottleneck. Don't take that route. So if you hear that, they're talking about there's some point where progress slows. Now, maybe deciding whether you should keep the marketing company or fire the marketing company is turning into a bottleneck because you're using this marketing company for a conference that you're planning. And you have all these tasks that need to be completed, but you're stuck on this one task. hiring or firing the marketing company. And because of it, you're not doing all the other tasks that need to be done. So this decision is a bottleneck. It's the point where progress slows down. Okay. So, in a discussion, in a project, in a work context, anything that is just taking a really long time can be a bottleneck, a bottleneck, a point where progress slows down, a bottleneck. So, that is an excellent one to know. Let's keep going. There's been a holdup on their end. Okay, so this is a very simple term, but it's very commonly used. So notice when you learn new vocabulary, you always have to understand what part of speech is it. So is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb? Is it a phrasal verb? Is it a group of words that have one meaning? So is it an idiom or an expression? So in this case, what is it? What is the type of word? What part of speech is it? And that's so important because it tells you the overall grammar, because you can't form an idea just with the one word. You need the grammar. And this is also why it's important. No, it's not a phrasal verb, although this can be used as a phrasal verb. But here in this sentence, it is not a phrasal verb. No, no, you guys, I'm surprised. Really? There's a very obvious clue. A very obvious clue. Yeah. Ashen and Husseini. Yes. A noun. And how do you know? How do you know? This is important because the article, an article would never come before a phrasal verb. Just grammatically, it would never happen. So, grammatically, it has to be a noun because you see an article, a holdup. So, it's a delay, a delay. Yes, hold up is also a phrasal verb. But to see it as a phrasal verb, you might say we need something to hold up the picture. Okay. So in this sentence, it is a phrasal verb. And the key here for me, what I would instantly notice is to hold up. So I would notice the infinitive. And then after that, that's the first thing I would notice. Then I would look at the full sentence and I would say, okay, we have a subject, we have a verb, we have an object, and then we have an infinitive. So I would understand the overall sentence structure as well. Okay. So to hold up in the sentence I gave you means to secure. So to secure a picture. So I can hold up a weight, for example. Right now, I'm holding up my phone. So that can be the meaning of the phrasal verb. You could also say, okay, I'm just typing this now. What about this? That discussion held us up. I'm not talking about kept us in place or secured us like I would. I'm holding up my phone. Can you hold up the slide for me? So if you physically hold up a slide so someone can see what you wrote, can you hold up the slide? Okay. But that discussion held us up. Now, here to understand the grammar, I would see a conjugated verb. And I would understand also that it's in the past simple. So that discussion delayed us because a delay is a noun, but delay is a verb. So it's the same as that discussion held us up. That discussion delayed us. Okay, because delay is equally, oh, wrong one, sorry. That discussion held us up. That discussion delayed us. So, yes, it is a phrasal verb to hold up. Something like a discussion holds someone up. But in here, there's been a hold up, there's been a delay. So you could equally say, there's been a delay. There's been a delay. There's been a delay. So a hold up equals a delay. All right, I'm glad we cleared that up because it's a very important distinction between seeing something and understanding. It can be a noun, it can be a verb or a phrasal verb, and then it can have different meanings depending on context. How about this? We're still working through the details. If you work through something, you resolve it and you do it gradually. So step by step. If you might, I might say, oh, I'm still working through why my website isn't working. So I'm resolving it, but gradually, step by step. So first I determine the problem, then I determine the solution, then I try, then I test, then I adjust, and then I test. So that would be working through it. We're still working through the details. How about this? Ooh, that solution is a short-term fix. So here, this is a noun phrase because we have a fix. So fix is the noun, but then short term describes the noun. What type of fix? So fix is another word for solution. We need a solution. We need a fix, a fix. So yes, fix is a verb. I need to fix my website. We need a fix by EOD. What does EOD mean, everyone? We learned this before. I need to fix my website. Fix is a verb. We need a fix by EOD. We need a fix by EOD. We need a solution. Now, short term describes the fix. So it functions as the adjective. A short term is more of a temporary solution. So if my website is just not working at all, I might need to change the URL of one of the pages. But that's just a temporary solution because I don't actually want to change the URL. I want to keep my current URL, but I just need a temporary solution until I understand, until I figure out why my URL isn't working. That was just an example I thought of, okay? So a temporary solution. We need a fix, a short-term fix. All right. And yes, good job, everyone. EOD is end of day. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Thank you for remembering, everyone. There's so much clutter in the basement. Ooh, what room of the house would you use this? There is so much clutter in what room would you identify? In the basement, in the spare bedroom, in the hall closet, in the attic, in the garage. What room of the house would you say? So clutter. Ooh, what is clutter? There is no clutter. anywhere in my house because I can't stand clutter. Clutter, this represents things. So clutter, the word is singular, okay? Things is plural, but you would never say there there are so many clutters. Okay? Clutter is always singular, but it represents a plural because clutter is things that take up too much space or make it crowded. For example, if I had 10 pillows and 3 blankets on that couch, you would say the couch is cluttered. The couch is cluttered. Now, in the room, if I had boxes and 3 chairs and 3 lamps and a bookshelf and 50 books all right behind me, that's all things. But things, they're taking up too much space and it makes the room crowded. So you would refer to all of those things as the singular clutter. Clutter. Very important word, clutter. Okay. Overloaded with unnecessary stuff. Exactly. Yes, Alexander, clutter is uncountable. That's why we have there is and much. The word much is used for clutter. So, who can take there is so much clutter and change it to things? What else do you need to change? Who can do that exercise? Put it in the comments. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed my news lesson. This was yesterday with the US leaving the WHO, the World Health Organization. So if you haven't watched it yet, you can find it on my channel. I posted it yesterday. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Ah, a cluttered basement. Exactly. Oh, again, a cluttered basement. Yeah. There are so many things in the basement. Exactly. So we have to change our verb conjugation from there is to there are. Okay. So can stay, but much is for uncountable, many is for countable. So clutter is uncountable. We use the singular verb and much. Things is countable. We use the plural verb, there are, and then so many things. Well done. Well done. And thank you so much, Jorge, for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, and you can absolutely say there is a lot of clutter. There is a lot of clutter in the basement. Absolutely, you can say that. Great job. Yeah, there are so many things in the basement. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going. Let's tidy up our cluttered room. If you use clutter where you have it, it's an adjective, so you need the ed, cluttered, cluttered, cluttered. Let's tidy up our cluttered room. If you got rid of room, then clutter is the noun. Let's tidy up our clutter. Perfect, perfect. All right. Woohoo. I'm so glad this is your first lesson. And yes, lots of interesting vocabulary here, and we're learning a lot of grammar at the same time. Yeah, a pantry could absolutely be cluttered, but the adjective is cluttered. So you would say a cluttered pantry, because in this case, it functions as an adjective, not a noun. In my sentence, it's a noun. Okay, so that's why there's no ed. Let's keep going, everyone. So here we see it as the adjective in this sentence. So you could equally say, right back at you to Morocco, you can equally say the basement is too cluttered. So the basement is messy. Messy is an adjective. The basement is clean, adjective. The basement is tidy, adjective. The basement is small, big, new, old, nice, ugly, adjectives. Cluttered is an adjective. So to be cluttered. In this sentence, we use the verb to be as well. The basement is cluttered. So this means the basement is filled with too many things and it makes it feel crowded. So it's not in a positive way because it can be filled with many things, but in a positive way, but cluttered is not positive. All right, we have a lot of first timers. Thank you so much. That's so great. I'm so glad you're here with us. Let's keep going. Yes, but you need the adjective form. Can I say I have a cluttered brain? Yes, but you're describing your brain, so you need the adjective form. And yes, you can say that. Native speakers understand it. It's more figurative. You have so much stuff in your brain that it makes your brain feel crowded. Yes, you can say it, but keep in mind it's more of a figurative way. Can you help me tidy up my cluttered room? Woohoo! Finally, we have a student using it with the adjective form. Great job. Great job. Okay, all the way to Turkey and Nairobi. Welcome, welcome. Myanmar, welcome. India, welcome. Oh, hello, Costa Rica. Welcome, Pura Vida. Let's keep going. Should we finally tackle the clutter in the basement this weekend? So, answer, is this a verb, noun, adjective, adverb? What part of speech is it? And I'm talking about the word clutter. Clutter. Should we finally tackle the clutter in the basement this weekend? Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate that. It truly helps keep sustaining the channel so I can keep going live, keep creating so much content for all of you. And yes, it's a noun. Great job, everyone. Yes, you got it. Because, well, you can always look for clues. Instantly, the clue is the word the, because we only use articles in front of nouns. So that's instantly your clue. Yes, you got it. You got it. Okay, should we finally? I'll answer that in a second. I have a slide on declutter. Should we finally tackle? So tackle means that you need to deal with it. You need to handle it. You need to do something about it. So if I have 20 boxes, 100 books, 3 lamps, 5 chairs, 12 cat sculptures right behind me, I need to tackle this. I need to do something about it. I need to address it. I need to handle it. I need to deal with it. Those are all alternatives. Okay, so this is a great verb. You do not only need to use this with cleaning, of course, you can use this with any problem, situation that you're experiencing. Let's keep going. And yes, there are just such subtle differences, but they're very important. So I'm glad you're finding this valuable. Okay, you don't tackle with, so you must always look at the sentence structure. You simply tackle something. So I have to tackle my math problems, not with. So just remove the word with and you got it correct. Well done. Oh, I'm so glad. Definitely want you to join as well. It's really fun. It's a great way for us to interact with each other. Yes, I'd love to come to Morocco, have some mint tea and delicious food. Oh, I have to tackle my daily bad sleeping habit. Yes, absolutely. Excellent example. Excellent. Love it. Okay, wow, great job decluttering the basement. So, wow, it's funny because you just said, let's declutter the basement. Great job. Great minds think alike. So, here, great job. This is in the ing form, decluttering, because great job doing something. So, great job tackling your math problem. Great job cleaning the bathroom. That's why it's in the ing form. Wow, great job decluttering the basement. Oh, I'm so glad it's your first lesson from, well, sorry, I keep trying to press this one. Your first class, welcome, welcome. Make sure all you first timers, you subscribe so you're notified every time I go live, every time I post a new lesson. Welcome, welcome, all the way to China. Okay, we need to declutter our office after the meeting. Meeting is a singular countable noun, so you need the. We need to declutter our office for sure, absolutely. So, to declutter, this is to remove unnecessary items and to organize what's left. So, maybe I decide I want to keep 2 chairs, 10 books, and 2 cat sculptures. And I get rid of everything else. Now, the remaining items, I'm also going to put them in a proper place. Organize, organize. So, declutter is different from organize because first you remove unnecessary items. With organize, I take all the papers on my desk and I just put them in a stack, in a pile. But with declutter, I decide which papers I'm going to permanently remove. Cat sculpture, a cat sculpture. Let's move on. We're not talking about clutter anymore. We're talking about something different. Just let those pans soak for a bit. So, of course, you cook with a pan, a frying pan. You can just say pan. So, you're providing this as a suggestion. Just let those pans, so there's more than one, those pans soak for a bit. For a bit. A bit means a short period of time. Be back in a bit. See you in a bit. Call you in a bit. In a bit. But here we have for because we have the duration of time from start to finish. When I say in a bit, I'm only talking about the end point. Okay, for is the duration of time. All right. So, soak. What is soak? Well, if you're getting a manicure, you will let your fingers soak in water first to soften your cuticles, for example. Okay. If this shirt is very dirty, I would let it soak in water before I put it in the washer. Now, same with dishes. You can let them soak in water. So it just to let them sit in water, to leave them in water. And why do you do that? Well, because it makes cleaning easier. Yeah, you can soak in the bathtub. You need an area where you can put a lot of water. So if I'm cleaning my shirts, maybe I would soak them in the bathtub. You can soak your dishes in the sink, and you can soak your fingers in a small bowl of water. So the vessel can be different for sure. Yeah, and you might add let's with apostrophe S, let's put this pan, this is singular, so it means one. Okay, let's put this pan in water with soap. With soap. So you can absolutely add with soap. Your sentence structure needs fixing a little bit, but great job, Ariel. I love how you added with soap. So, Ariel, you might say, let's soak this pan in water with soap. Because you can use soak as the verb. Let's soak, or let's let this pan soak in water. All right. Yeah, absolutely. You can soak beans for 4 to 5 hours before cooking. And that is a recommendation for sure. Actually, I did this yesterday. I cooked a big batch of beans yesterday for veggie burritos, and I let them soak overnight. So I let them sit in water overnight. Excellent example. Yeah, you can soak the sponge in the soap. Absolutely. Great job. Let the sneakers soak for a while before wiping up the messy soil. Absolutely. So put your sneakers in some water and just let them sit there. Maybe add a little bit of soap as well. Okay. Great job, everyone. Lots of different things you can soak. Let's keep going. You can let those pans air dry. So remember, pans, plural, it means more than one. So you use those. If you use, you could also use these, those, these, either one. If you use this, it must be one. You can let this pan air dry. Okay, so to air dry, I do not do that with my hair because it would take 3 or 4 hours, which is just too long. But I do that with many of my clothes. So to air dry, to dry naturally. So you don't put it in the dryer, the drying machine, the dryer for your shirt. And if you let your hair dry, air dry, it means you don't use a hair dryer. You just let the environment dry it. Now, for dishes, it means you don't dry them with a towel. You just leave them on the counter and they dry naturally, and then you put them away. So maybe you're letting the person know that they don't have to do that because it takes time. You can let those pans air dry. You can let those pans air dry. Oh, yes. You can also use soaked as an adjective to describe something that is completely wet. So if someone knocks on the door, I might say to my husband, "Can you get the door? My hair is soaked." So I don't want to get the door because my hair is soaked. Maybe I just got out of the shower. Or you can say, "Oh, I can't wear this shirt. It's soaked. It's completely wet." Yeah, great example. Ah, I usually let my hair air dry 80% before I blow dry. Awesome. That's great. I love letting my hair air dry. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do it. We should clean out the fridge before we go on vacation. Okay, so clean out, clean out. So we talked about clean and clean up. Now I'm introducing a new form, which is clean out. Now I'm introducing it later because it's a very specific thing. So we should clean out the fridge. If you clean out, it means you take all the items out of the fridge And then, oh, this mustard has been here for 5 years. Throw it out. This jam is expired. Throw it out. Ooh, this has mold on it. Throw it out. Okay? So you remove unwanted items because there's usually a lot of small amount of condiments in the fridge. And then you put the wanted items back, but in an organized way. All my condiments go on this shelf. My eggs go here. My whatever goes here. So you put it in an organized way. You can clean out your fridge. You can clean out your closet. You can clean out the garage. You can clean out the basement as well. How about this? There are so many dust bunnies under the bed. Have you looked under your bed lately? Have you looked under your couch? What would happen if you moved your couch? Well, most likely you would find dust bunnies. It's a really cute word, and it just means balls or clumps of dust. So when dust comes together, it forms a clump or a ball, and you usually find them under the couch, under the bed, or places that don't usually get cleaned. Even when you do your regular weekly vacuuming, it's the back of the couch. Definitely, there are dust bunnies under the couch. So you can use dust bunnies. Now, notice it's plural. So that's why we have there are, and we're using many. But the word dust is singular. So you wouldn't say there are dusts with an S. That doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, you can think of it like cotton balls, exactly, but it's dust. But it usually, when you take it out, it's definitely in a ball. I don't know how it happens, but it forms a ball for sure. Okay. So dust is singular, it's uncountable. You never add an S, but dust bunnies, dust balls, dust clumps, that would be plural. So you would change your verb and you change much, many. So just remember you have to make those differences. And I don't know where the word dust bunnies came from. They don't really look like bunnies, but I guess maybe you could argue they are. They do look like bunnies. Okay. What do we have? In French, you use sheep. Dust. So would you say dust sheep or just sheep? There's sheep under the bed. That's interesting. Yeah, definitely. It's cute for sure. Dust bunnies. I guess the bunny more means the ball or the clump, because you still would say dust. We generally don't say there are bunnies under the bed. Someone would be like, what are you talking about? Bunnies? So that I don't instantly think of dust. You must say dust bunnies. Dust bunnies. Okay. So you must still use the word dust. So bunnies, I guess, represents more the balls or the clumps. Yeah, maybe that's why they're fluffy. They're fluffy for sure. Oh, dust kitty. That's so cute. I love this. I love this. Dust clouds. Oh, I love this. Yes, I can see the cloud for sure. They look like clouds. I like it. Where are these dust bunnies coming from? Even though I clean every day. Do you have pets? Because most of my dust bunnies come from cat hair for sure. Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. It's like impossible to say dusts with a plural. It's so difficult. So don't say it. It's just dust. Just dust. Let's keep moving. Now you've learned dust bunnies. That's probably the one. If you remember anything from the lesson, I bet tomorrow morning you'll wake up and you'll think dust bunnies. I'm doing laundry this afternoon. Do you have anything to throw in? So, first, notice you do laundry. You can say the laundry. You can also just say, I'm doing laundry. You don't have to say the. In this case, it's optional. I'm doing laundry. I'm doing the laundry this afternoon. So if you want to include a time reference, you can. You don't need to. You could say, I'm doing laundry after my meeting. I'm doing laundry after lunch. I'm doing laundry before my meeting. So you can use different time references if you choose. Do you have anything? So anything would be clothes. So I could say, do you have any clothes or clothing to throw in? Throw in means to add. So I have my pile of dirty clothes. And if you throw something in, it means you add a shirt to the pile. You could, so you, to add or to contribute. Contribute sounds a little more formal. I would never say, do you have anything to contribute? But that means more the literal translation of it. But to add. So I would absolutely say to my husband, do you have anything to add? Do you have anything to add? I would say that. But you can also use throw in. Yeah, you could use throw in with ideas. Not as common, I'll be honest, but does anyone have any ideas to throw in? Yeah, you could, but I would say it's not the most common. I would say you're safer to use add or contribute. In a meeting context, contribute sounds a little more formal, add sounds natural, everyday. And then with laundry, you can use add or throw in. Definitely not throw out, because throw out means to remove permanently. Let's keep going. You can't just wipe the toilet. You need to scrub it. Oh, so remember I explained wipe is how you move your hand like this or like this if it's on a vertical surface, horizontal surface. Now, what is scrub? This is scrub. As fast as you can, as hard as you can. Scrub. You can scrub your nails. You can scrub your face. You can scrub your hair. So there are other things you can scrub as well. If there's a stain on my shirt, well, then I might scrub it. But I probably, if there was just a little bit of dust on my shirt, then I would wipe it. Okay, so that would be the difference. So, first, let's talk about banking. What is the name of the machine that you see in the screen? What would a native speaker call this? He's at what? Put it in the comments because this is going to be one of the keywords. I want to know if you know it already. Okay, let's get started. You might say, oh, some people already know it. Awesome. You might say, I need to withdraw $500 from my savings account. So maybe you say this to a bank teller, but let's be honest, most people don't go to banks very frequently anymore. Most people do everything online. But you might say this to a friend, a family member, or a bank teller. Now, notice I said bank teller. That's the person who works at the bank and provides you with service. Okay, so to withdraw, this is to take money out of your bank account. So to withdraw. Who knows what's the opposite of withdraw? If withdraw is take out, what is the opposite? Who knows? Put that in the comments as well. Don't worry, you'll learn this, but I'm going to quiz you before I share. I already see the answer. Oh, my students are very quick today. You're on the ball. You're on the ball. That's an idiom. You're on the ball. You're answering very quickly and correctly. You're on the ball. Okay, let's keep going. So you can say withdraw. That sounds quite formal. It sounds like something I would probably use at the bank with a bank teller or with someone official. Now, the everyday way of saying this is take out. Remember, that's the definition of withdraw, take money out, because you take something out. So I'll take out some cash. This is a separable phrasal verb. So you can say, I'll take some cash out, or I'll take out some cash for the market this weekend. So, this is something my husband always says because the market that we go to, the farmer's market, is cash only. So, we always have to take out some cash for the market on the weekend. So, of course, everyday phrasing, don't use withdraw, use take out. But when you're doing your online banking, because they generally use more formal language, they'll probably say withdraw and then the opposite. You might see that language with online banking. Exactly. I'll take out some cash. I'll take out some cash. And then my smart students got the answer. Yes, it's deposit. Deposit. Exactly. Well, you can't just have put, it would be put in. Put in. Okay, so not just put in. So you can say, I need to go to the bank to deposit this check. Now, most of the time, you don't need to go to the bank anymore. Thankfully, you can just take a picture of your check and upload it to your online banking platform. But personally, there are certain checks that I receive that for some reason I can never take a picture of them. It just never accepts it. There's always an error that I get. So the twice a year that I actually go to the bank, it's to deposit these very specific checks that for some reason don't work with online banking. So I need to go to the bank to deposit this check. Deposit this check. Now, this check, instead of check, this money, you deposit either physical money or a check. Okay, so to put money into an account. Now, even though put in is the phrasal verb, native speakers use deposit. So, yes, for take out, for withdraw, in everyday speech, we generally don't use withdraw, we just use take out. But we use deposit for put in. That's the general term that we use. Let's keep going. Okay, how about this? I transferred you the money for the tickets. This is something that I commonly say to friends, family members. My friend might buy the tickets. Let's say we're going to the movies. And of course, we want our seats to be together. So my friend will buy the tickets, but then I need to give her the money. So I can just transfer the money to my friend. Okay. So I transferred you the money for the tickets. This means I sent you the money electronically, but nobody would say that. That is the direct translation. So notice here to transfer is the verb. And that's why it's in the ED form, because this is a completed past action. So transferred, just a softie. Repeat after me, transferred. I transferred you. So you can transfer someone something. I transferred you the money. You can transfer something to someone. So that's the alternative. I transferred the money to you. So you cannot say, I transferred the money you. That would be incorrect. I transferred the money to you. Okay, that's the alternative sentence structure. Both are very common. It doesn't matter which one you use. I transferred you the money for the tickets. Now, you can transfer someone else money. You can also transfer money between your accounts. So in your bank or your online bank, you probably have different accounts, and you might take $500 from this account and transfer it to another account. So this is not going to another person, is going from account to account. So it would be the same language used. I'm going to the bank to transfer the money to my school. Exactly. So you can transfer something, the money, to someone or something to my school. Exactly. I transferred you the money I owed you last month. Exactly. Very nicely done. I love that. Great job. Excellent. Good job, everyone. Let's keep going. How about this? So everyone knew what the image at the beginning was. Most of my students, I saw a lot of comments. So ATM, this stands for automated teller machine. Do not say that. Nobody says that. Honestly, most native speakers don't even know what ATM stands for. Okay. But remember, thank you so much, Jorge, for your support, and hello. Now, remember, ATM is a noun. So in a sentence, you need an article, or here, a possessive, this ATM. Okay. You could say the ATM, or you might say, I need to find an ATM. An ATM. I need to find an ATM. Okay, so you must use an article in front of it, or a word that replaces an article, like this. This ATM charges $5 to take out money. Most ATMs charge money. So, charge is that it requires payment, or it applies a fee to your account. So you might be charged money to transfer money from one person to another. Hopefully, you're not charged money to transfer within your different accounts. But yes, it's a processing fee. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, now, oh, now you know ATM, and you also know charge. Make sure you always use ATM. So you might say, where's an ATM? I need to find an ATM. Do you know where an ATM is? Yes, and make sure you have the article and an ATM, an ATM, so notice that connection, an ATM, an ATM, an ATM, an ATM. All right. Let's keep going, everyone. What do we have next? This is the image of the ATM, just to jog your memory. And let's keep going on to talking about saving. So, saving money, saving money. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm at the ATM. Exactly. Nice. Now, to save money, you can use the phrasal verb to set aside. I set aside $100 every month for emergencies. So it means you take this money, $100, and you save it. You save it for a specific purpose. So in this case, the specific purpose is an emergency. Maybe the roof starts leaking, or your fridge breaks, your car breaks, you get sick and it's expensive, or you break a tooth and it's expensive. So that would be an emergency. An emergency. I set aside $100 every month for emergencies. Now, the phrasal verb or the verb here, set, you have to conjugate your verb. In this case, it's in the present simple. So if it were she sets aside $100 every month for emergencies. Now, the past simple of set is set, and the third form is set. And yes, everyone, you're right. That's a piggy bank. I don't know about you, but it's very common in North America for kids to have piggy banks. I don't know many adults that have piggy banks, but kids have piggy banks. And whenever they get a little bit of money, because getting money when you're 8 years old, 10 years old, getting any kind of money is a big deal. You put it in your piggy bank and then you count it, and it's very exciting. Yes, piggy bank. Great job, everyone. I don't know where that came from. Why piggy? I'm not sure. Yeah, I set aside $2,000 for next year's tuition fees. Exactly. So you reserved that money so you don't go out and spend it on the weekend. Very nice. I set aside a lot of money every month for my kids' college. Absolutely excellent job. And thank you, Natalia. Set, set, set. Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I had a fish bank. I love that. I love that. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm saving up for a long trip next year. So, here to save up, and if you specify the something, a long trip next year, you need an additional phrasal verb or additional preposition for. So to save up for something. I'm saving up for a long trip next year. Now, this is very similar to set aside. So you collect money over time for a future goal. So it's very similar to set aside. You can say, I'm saving up for my kids' college. For example, I'm saving up for my daughter's wedding. I'm saving up for our honeymoon, whatever it is. Now, generally, with save up, you don't have to specify the word money or the amount of money. But with set aside, you can't just say, I set aside every month for emergencies. That's incomplete. So the sentence structure is slightly different because you have to set aside money. You can just use the word money, or you can be specific, like here, $100. But with save up, you don't have to include the word money or the specific amount. I'm saving up for my kids because they need it. Absolutely. That's very thoughtful of you. I'm saving up money to buy a new smartphone. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be for emergencies. You can do it for something fun, something entertainment based, or something practical like a new smartphone. I'm saving up money to buy a new smartphone. Very, very nice. Okay, let's keep going. What do we have here? So this is something that's specific for me, which is a TFSA. I have no idea if this exists in your country, but in mine, we have something called a TFSA. Can anyone guess what this might be? Remember, we're in the context of saving money. Does anyone know what this might be? Take a guess. What do you think this stands for? And maybe it's very common in your country as well, and I'll share it. But every year I max out my TFSA. So to max out, this means to reach the maximum allowed limit. So let's say the maximum limit is $7,000, which is true. In this case, it's $7,000. It means I contribute $7,000. Okay. That means to max out, to do the maximum. Okay. I love it. I love it. Everyone's guessing. Everyone's guessing. Great job, everyone. Thank you for indulging me. Oh, very good guess. Yes, love it. So close. You got the last two words right, but not the first two. Hidaki got it. So, a tax free savings account. This is something that the government offers where you can put $7,000 every year into this account called a tax free savings account. And all the interest you earn on that account is tax free. So let's say I invest $7,000 and I make 10%. So I make $700. I don't have to pay tax on that $700. So, this is an incentive that the government provides to try to encourage people to save money. So, that's something we have. So, you might have a similar account in your country. You might have a retirement account that you can contribute to as well, or other types of accounts, maybe for your children's education, your retirement, your pension, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to save the money for my retirement. Exactly. So you might set aside money every month for your retirement, or you might save up for your retirement. Let's keep going. Now, remember here, I'm using max out, but this is a positive thing to max out a tax free savings account. This is not a positive thing. Honey, did you max out our credit card at the spa? So here in this case, to max out, it's the same thing, is to reach the maximum allowed limit. The exact same definition, but in this case, if you have $5,000 available on your credit card, remember, that isn't free money. You have to pay it back. And then you spend $5,000 at the spa. Well, you just maxed out your credit card. So that's just showing you the contrast where max out can be positive in the case of a savings account or a retirement pension fund, your emergency fund, whatever it might be, but it's often used in the negative where you max out your credit card. Okay. Yeah, just remember that max is a verb. So this is a phrasal verb. The preposition is, of course, out. But max is a verb. It's a regular verb. So in the past simple, it would be maxed. I maxed out my credit card shopping. Very nicely done. And just notice that pronunciation maxed with a very soft T. Maxed. Maxed. Yeah. I was trying to think of an example a wife would say to her husband, but I couldn't think of it. I don't know. Maybe if you can think of one, share it. But the other way around, of course, it's the spa. That's an easy one. The spa. Okay. So maxed out. I maxed out my credit card on vacation. So maybe just this sounds quite indulgent, of course, but maybe you max out your credit card to pay for tuition because you don't have enough, or you maxed out your credit card when you had an emergency and you needed to get the roof repaired and you didn't have an emergency fund, an emergency account, for example. So there's lots of times where you might max out your credit card, but it's not necessarily in an indulgent way. It might be because of necessity. Let's keep going. We need to cut back on eating out. So remember, this is the context of saving money. We need to cut back on eating out. So on is a preposition, and that's why the next verb is in ing. We need to cut back on eating out. We need to reduce our spending on food. Food, not groceries, because eating out isn't the same as groceries. So it would be going to dinner, getting lunch at the food court or the market instead of making your lunch at home, things like that. So cut back on. This is used in a non financial context. We use this with our diet. Oh, I need to cut back on sweets. I need to cut back on carbs. I need to cut back on sugar. I need to cut back on coffee, for example. So reduce the amount of that thing. All right. Natalia, honey, did you max out our credit card at the hardware store? Exactly. Great job. Love that example. Thank you. I need to cut back on calories. Exactly. Exactly. Just make sure cut back is 2 words because you have to conjugate the verb, even though it's an irregular verb. So it's cut, cut, cut. Last month, we cut back on eating out. So that is the past simple. So this is a great one when you're talking about trying to save money. How about this? Unfortunately, a vacation isn't in our budget this year. Isn't in our budget this year. So here, budget, this is a noun. And you can say our budget, my budget, the budget. So you need an article or a possessive in front of it. And this is the amount of money available and planned for spending. So you have your paycheck that you make. Let's just use a very easy $1,000, okay? So you have of that $1,000 you're going to budget. So you're going to have $200 for food. And that's what you have available and planned for food. You might spend a little less, you might spend a little bit more. So you can be under the budget, you can be over the budget, but you might plan out how to allocate. Allocate is the more formal way of saying divide, distribute. So you plan how to allocate your money. Now, not everybody has a budget. That's for sure. And this is very commonly used in workplace discussions. So your department has a budget available for certain things. You may know what that budget is. You may be a decision maker. You may manage that budget, but is very commonly used in a business context. Of course, in a government context, they're always talking about their budget, but in a household context as well. The man's budget is not enough to buy a new car. Absolutely. Very nice. Government budget for defense this year is insane. Yeah, exactly. So always they're talking about the government budget, the government's budget for sure. Now, here, remember, this is a noun, our budget. Let's plan our budget. We need to revise our budget. Okay. You can also use it as a verb. So basically, the exact same sentence, but I had to change the sentence structure because now I'm using it as a verb to budget. So this is to plan how you'll spend money. So you might say, honey, we need to budget for this vacation. Okay, so you can budget for something, which means that you plan to spend a certain amount of money for a certain purpose. Unfortunately, we didn't budget for a vacation this year. So this is the verb form. This is the noun form. Unfortunately, a vacation isn't in our budget this year. Okay, I I saw an example. This one. I'm on a tight budget right now. This is a very common thing that a native speaker would say. So let's say your friend asks you if you want to go to the spa or to the hardware store. That's where guys go, right? Every weekend, you just go to the hardware store with your friends. So you go to the spa or the hardware store. Your friend invites you, but you say to them, "Oh, sorry, I can't. I'm on a tight budget right now." It means that you have to spend your money very wisely and you don't have money available for extra expenses like going to the spa, going to the movies, eating out more than once a month, whatever it might be. I'm on a tight budget right now. That's a very common thing. Thank you for sharing it. And this is also a very common expression with the word budget. The car I want to buy is out of my budget. So if someone offers you something, uh, usually a larger item, you might say, "Oh, that's out of my budget." So maybe your roof needs to be repaired. And then the contractor recommends that you use there's a certain type of roofing that's common in Canada now, and it's very expensive. I can't think of what it is. It's not tile roof, it's something else. Anyways, let's just say a metal roof. That might be it, a metal roof. And then they say, "Oh, you should use a metal roof because it has all these benefits." And then you say, "Oh, that's out of my budget. We'll stick to tile. A metal roof is out of my budget." Okay, so that's a very good one as well. Yeah, this is a very nice expression as well. Our budget is limited now. If you have a limited budget, it's just saying I have limited money. So you only have this much available for a certain thing, but then what you need, in this case a car, is this much. So you can say our budget is limited now, so we will postpone buying a car. If you postpone something, it means that you do it later. So you say not now, later. You can do it because you don't have money, you don't have time, you're not that interested. There could be many reasons why. Okay, so great job, everyone, sharing all these different examples.